and Breakdowns.
Welcome back to the Chill Sounds and Breakdowns podcast. We are episode 105, baby. And I'm just chilling today. And I'm happy because I'm chilling with my friend today. Today we got Bert from Bertshot. What's going on?
What up?
Actually, not only Bertshot. You got a bunch of projects going on.
A lot.
Right now.
Formally, not even formally, but yeah, got a lot going on. I am the vocalist slash noisemaker of Dried Remains.
Noisemaker.
Yeah, the noisemaker. I mean, I'm using a pitch shifter, man. You can't even, there's no vocals.
Yeah.
But first off, before we do anything, we got to give a toast to my boy here, getting engaged to a lovely lady.
We did it.
Clink.
Clink. That's a real... Whew. I'm not going to say what time of day it is. God damn, okay.
Yeah, no, they don't need to know. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
No, I bring this up quite a bit. Like nowadays, my tolerance is at the fucking floor, my man. Like, really, like I don't drink like that anymore, or even drink a lot anymore. So, like, I always overestimate my tolerance these days. So now, like, I'm just hella just like, I'm just need to chill. You know what I mean? Like right now, even I was like, oh, I'll have another drink, and I'm like, that's gonna be enough. Like for the rest of the day. Actually, that's what I'm gonna reach for. But so, yeah, man. So what's been going on with you?
There's a lot to catch up on, brother. So I want to say, I had my episode back at the apartment, which was 41, right?
So this is the cool thing is that like Bert's been around. Yeah, what episode? It was before I started taking pictures, so it's definitely before 49. And it was right, I think, before the move. Like there was one of the last ones before the move, because were you helping me out at the apartment too? I can't remember.
I think, yeah, like because it was Jay's episode that I came in and brought the lights in the first
you helped
time.
me with Jay's, and then we had yours.
Like following right
yeah.
after it, yeah. And then I think we did I know we did a honey rot.
Honey rot?
We did the honey rot. We had
I was trying to pour it.
I was going to say the cork's broken.
Did it get stuck?
Yes, that's what I was saying. Yeah,
I didn't hear you say that.
I was saying the cork's stuck.
Oh. I literally was like, what the? I was like, what's happening? Continue.
But so we did the honey rot one. I want to say, who else do we have, man? Like I know we did like a couple. Well, no.
Oh, wait. The deep end.
The deep end.
We did the deep
and then
end.
we went to Austin to do
Xavier the Second.
Xavier the Second, yeah.
That was. I still laugh at that because that was literally like, bro, like a tour. It was the second time we had like hung out, and like one of those was like the podcast. Like the podcast was like when we hung out and actually like talked to each other, and then the neighbors say, "Hey, do you want to go to Austin to do this podcast with me?" You're like, "Yeah, dude, let's go." Yeah. I'm like, "Fuck it," you know what I mean? But it's cool. It's one of those. It was, and it still remains. Ooh, that's the ASMR right here.
Right.
This is gonna be a
smooth action going on right now at the Chill Sounds podcast,
bro. I like whispers. I hate that shit.
That shit.
Yeah, like when people talk, you know what I mean? Like I feel like because like even like when people are eating, like I'm used to it because I'm like, oh, you're eating, your mouth's gonna make sounds. But when people are like doing that ASMR shit and they're just going like, and I'm like, oh, I can't do that. But I thought that was so cool because that's one of those like moments or like trips that you have. Like there's probably like a handful that you get in like your lifetime of like you hang out with like a person and you have that moment where like, oh fuck, this is where we like became friends. And that was like the moment like for us, like that drive, we were like belting out fucking like songs, playing like old shit, new shit, just shit that we liked, and just had like this whole entire experience that I'm like, that I look back and realize like, oh shit, yeah, that's the moment we became friends. And it's so cool like to be able to pinpoint those moments with people. Right. But that was definitely like the moment for me.
I'll never forget, we're sitting down at a Chuck E. Cheese.
Peter Piper.
Peter Piper, yeah.
Which apparently you're still around, first of all.
But not in Fort, but we're sitting at a Peter Piper pizza, literally second time me and OC are ever hanging out. And, you know, we get our pizza.
It's important to note because I don't know Bert like that well.
Yes. And so we get the pizza and we're literally sitting down. And right as OC's about to get a slice, I put my hands up and I'm like, you know, I want to thank you, God, And
and I think I don't know if I had one in my, or like a slice in my hand, but I remember like immediately like putting it down, just being like, oh, okay, like let me just stay and respect. And he was like, nah, I'm just fucking with you. I'm like, you son of a bitch. Like I immediately was like, oh shit, I just disrespected the fuck out of Bert. Like we just met, like, you know, we're just hanging out, and I already fucked this up. And he's like, nah, I'm fucking with you. And I'm like, God, yeah, like honestly. And I fell for it like hook, line, and sinker for sure.
That's like probably like you get few moments where you're like, oh, I had to do this. You know, like
it's like I got the perfect chance to do this. I do. You know what I do that with? I used to do it a lot. I don't do it anymore. Well, actually, nobody even asks anymore. But like, so I broke my arm. I don't know if you can see here, but there's a scar right there. You see that?
yeah.
Yeah. So like it's a big ass scar that way, and it's a big one this way. So people normally see that one, and like a while like back in the day, like this is years ago, because no one asks about it anymore. But they would be like, "Oh, like what happened here?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, like I kind of don't want to."
Oh my god.
I was like, I probably could have done it to you right now.
But, you literally could.
But literally the story, like, and it's back in like when I was like bar hopping days. So it was always like to a random stranger or whatever. So it was always perfect. Like no one knows shit about me.
I was about to say, can I get the story to that?
Sure. Yeah, this is how it goes. Like, oh, you know, at first it'd be like, oh, I kind of really don't like bringing it up and talking about it. And everybody's always pushing, especially at a bar. Like if people are drinking, like they're going to push for a story. No one's going to respect that boundary, which is fine. That's the setup. But it'd be like, oh no, come on, like tell me what happened. I'm like, well, you know, as a kid, like I used to like stay at home. Like I was a latchkey kid, so I would come home from school and, you know, stay by myself. And then sometimes like my mom would work like overnights, like so I would be, you know, alone like in the house. And you know, I did my normal thing, like had dinner, hung out, and then like I went to bed. And in the middle of the night, like I hear a sound, and I think it's my mom coming home, and I haven't seen her like this week, so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get up and go say hi to her or something. So there's a noise in the kitchen, so I walk all the way to the kitchen, and I don't know if anything could have prepared me like for seeing this, but like I walk in the room and there's just this guy like next to the fridge, and I see like the back door open, and I freeze, like I don't know what to do, and he was next to like the you ever seen like some people have them, not everybody, but it's like a rack. It's like a wooden rack where people put their knives in.
Yeah, so
a
knife block
right next to that. And I guess he's got a split second of like, I'm either gonna run or I'm gonna do something. Maybe this is his like fight or flight moment. But he like makes a decision, and like I see him reach for one of the knives and just lunge. Like I'm stuck there. I can't move. Like I don't, like my feet just aren't listening to my brain to like get out of there. And he lunges at me with like the knife. So, I mean, all I can do is literally like put my hands up. So I put my hands up like this, and the knife just goes straight through here, exits out the back. He drags it down a little bit. That's why it's kind of long like that, because it drags down.
Wait, you're not fucking with me, are you?
No, like this is what happens.
Yeah.
Oh
my God.
So it like drags down, and he pulls his hand. I guess he didn't think, like, I don't know if he was knowing what he was doing, but it goes through, and it's still in here. And I guess that's when my adrenaline kicks in. So I just kind of like shove him and then like kick him, and then he falls to the ground. And I'm now recognizing that there's a knife in like my arm, and he, I guess, just decides to bail. So he bails out the back door and just like runs. Like we have a tall ass fence, but he must have been like, now he was in his flight mode. So he just climbs this, like, it's like 8 feet tall, like wooden fence. Like he just like jumps over. And I'm just literally there, like with a like giant like kitchen. It's one of those like the angular kitchen knives that are like that, the big ass ones.
Yeah, like the Michael Myers blade.
Yeah. Yeah, one of those is literally like through my arm, and it's just like the handle sticking out this way, the point's this way, and I just like freaking out, and I shock set in, so nothing hurts at the moment, but I'm just like freaking the fuck out. Call the ambulance, whatever, call my mom, and like she meets me at the hospital, whatever, and then like I don't move it, like, so they take it out there, they stitch it all. But that's why like this one is a lot cleaner, like where it went in, but where he dragged it down, that's why this one's all like kind of fucked up in there. But yeah, that was like me at 13, like that's when that happened.
I'm such a bad friend. I've never asked about that scar. Holy shit, dude.
Anyways, that's the fake story that I would tell.
Wait, that's the fake story? You motherfucker. Yeah. You literally saw my face change from like, he's fucking with me, like, wait, no, he's detailing this like.
I realized it like in the story. I'm like, I just told Bert this was the made up story. And
you could have fooled me,
and I
dude.
saw you like switch change like faces, and I'm like, wait, is he thinking this is real? Because he's like, I go, we're not faking it.
That's why I asked you. I was like, are you fucking with me right now?
Once you said that, you confirmed it. I'm like, oh, he really like. I was like, oh no, like I'm just gonna play it out. No, that's.
Oh my god, that's the story you would tell people. That's the story
that I would tell people, and I'm like, it was always at a bar. I was like, yeah, that's what I tell people to get chicks.
Hey man, dude, that's what works, dude. But back to like so we did the podcast like, and so like like I helped you up into
a fucking tangent. We're like 10 minutes in.
Who fucking cares, man? We're not gonna. I mean, like that's the thing, dude. I see you pretty often, but like it isn't like. I mean, like I used to help you on this.
Well, it wasn't like we used to, because that's also like weird, because you were. I mean, we were doing it every week, so it was like at least once a week we were hanging out. And you forget we were doing 2-a-days, so we would hang out for a span of like 7 hours, like that day. Like literally. We would do one, take a break, we'd like go get lunch or something, and then
Canes, bro.
Yeah.
Some Canes and some Hole, bro.
Bro, you said that to me before, like I knew what the meme was. So I was like, what the fuck? Because you said it to me like we were in the car. He's like, what would be some good with this Canes? Like some Hole. And I'm like, Bert, like I'm the only one here, Bert.
That's what I'm saying, bro. When you get me by yourself, dude, I'm gonna be stupid. I just literally love making people laugh. Yeah. Like saying the most out of pocket stuff.
Yeah. But you were saying we're doing the podcast,
and so, like and so that's the thing. Like we were just talking about it earlier before we even started. Like I was up here until. What was that? Cherry Mantis? So literally from episode 63, it's been like I haven't been here since then, And so, man, like literally, I want to say. So I'm going to go back a couple of days. So in December, even before December, I want to say like maybe November. I don't know if anyone knows this, but the Post closed, and that's really sad. R.I.P. the Post. But I was working there for a little bit, and I got to work with DJ. I mean, I love DJ, but I would always hound him with ideas.
Yeah.
I'd be like, DJ, we should do a show like this. And then one day he actually listened to me. And you know what idea that was?
Fort Worth Hardcore Fest.
Fort Worth Hardcore Fest, man. And that's the thing. I can't thank y'all enough for helping me put that on. Like, that was fun.
Such a fucking fun day, dude. Like, honestly, like, first of all, like, I give so much, like, love and props to, like, the hardcore scene for their support that they show, like, their community. Because from when it started to when it ended, like there was, like it started off with a decent crowd. It ended up late, and it still like had crowd. Like every band had like a lot of support out there, and it was so fucking fun. Like I bring up like when I was like, oh, like I told this to the guys in Pulse, but the guys in Pulse were talking to me beforehand. Like they were like, oh, like we listened to the podcast, blah blah blah. So we were like, and I hadn't heard Pulse at this point. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to go see them like at their room, like when it was their turn to go on. And I tried to get in the room and I couldn't. Like that side stage room was fucking full. Like to the door is as close as I got. And like, I'm like, I can stick my phone out and get some of this, but like I could not make myself like.
It was a battlefield, dude.
It's fucking cool though. Like I love seeing that. And then like we tied it together with like a food drive. And I'm like, I don't think a lot of people are going to come. Like we had like 3 fucking tubs of like stuff for
the boxes, right? Filled with food.
Yeah. That we donated to Funky Town Fridge. Even like, she came on the podcast and we were talking about it, and we're all like, yeah. She's like, yeah, I was like, we got a lot of stuff from y'all. I'm like, dude, that was fucking all like the community like that came together and did that. So, but it was such a fucking cool day. And people threw the fuck down.
Dude, I can't like what sucks is like the day of Fort Worth Hardcore Fest. So my old band Dear Anonymous was we opened it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, all 3 of us were sick as fuck.
God damn.
Sick, dude. And so that's the thing. Like, I stayed there the whole day, stayed there through the whole thing, but I literally couldn't. I think I moshed for Kaitetsu. That's it, literally. But I was just sick as a dog. But it was so cool. Like literally the Pulse set, I want to say that was like a highlight for me.
Yeah.
Seeing their set, Kaitetsu, they're fucking sick, man. I can't lie. Like I've been listening to that EP. I'm waiting for them to drop more music. But like that's the thing. Like that was my first time ever putting on like when I first brought that idea to DJ, I was just like halfway fucking around. I was just like, what if we did a hardcore fest? And then like I didn't think he would actually take it seriously.
Yeah.
And then when like he was like, let's do it. And that's what was just like, wow, this is actually happening. And then like the day comes, we have over 15 bands playing. Like that was wild, man. I can't lie to you. Like that was to put it in like long story short, like even though I was sick, I still enjoyed the hell out of it. Like we still had multiple people there, we had vendors there. Like I couldn't have asked for a better day, you know?
Yeah.
And like that was awesome. So that was December, right? And so I want to say maybe around, so this was kind of like in the background. I hadn't really told anyone about it. It wasn't until January is when we started Dried Remains, and that's me and my boy Nate. And we finally started getting that back up. And that's when we played our first show at Growl, and it was the day the snowstorm happened.
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
So it kind of sucked because we had a band from New York called Anti-Sapien. They were headlining. Well, they weren't headlining. They were the touring band.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, it wasn't the biggest crowd. But that's the thing, man. Like for our first show, like we had people show out. Like it was just awesome, you know? And so like, that's like the main band I've been doing, you know, was Dried Remains. And it's like, I tell people what the genre is and they don't know what it is. It's mince gore.
I don't know what that is.
Literally. And so like
I hear mince, I think garlic.
you think of garlic, you think of food, you know? And like the best way I feel like I can't even like properly describe it to you. The best way I can describe it to you is that beach ball, like boom pop, boom pop, boom pop, boom. That's all mince. That's all of mince.
Really?
Yes, dude.
Okay.
And there's like I never thought in like, I mean, I'm not gonna say like, I don't know, like it was just like, it didn't come to me at first when I first started playing music. Like you think like, oh, I'm going to stick with this one type of music when you first start playing. Yeah. And it wasn't like, literally last year, like last September, like I got put onto the genre and I was just like, man, there's energy here. Like granted, like there's no lyrics. Like it's just literally noise, people screaming into a pitch shifter, you know? And I can't lie, like, so we started that. We rebranded like 3 times because we wanted to be a beatdown band, right? And we're like, this doesn't sound beatdown. We wanted to go towards more like a death metal route, and we're like, this is not death metal, you know? Yeah. And it's just like we can get into whole genre disputes, but it was just like we're not really finding the genre we want. And it wasn't until my boy Nate showed me this band called Haggis. Haggis, man, I can't tell you how like. You hear it and it's just like, you know, you hear like music where you're just like, that is so like me and you listen to a band called Zeliak, and why I really like Zeliak is like they are like virtuosos in a sense, you know, like you're not hearing the same chords, you're hearing a lot of like virtuoso playing in there, you know? And so like I always thought I would be in that genre, you know, like I always thought I'd be playing music where not for lack of a better term, like I would just be playing that advanced type of music. And then like when I started playing mince, I was just like, dude, like this is just straight energy. Like I'm just playing riffs, you know? And what was really cool was, you know, DJ for Noise Rock booked us on a show at Haltom. And dude, literally people were moshing, people were moving. I can't tell you, like the feeling of that is like electric. It makes me feel like, okay, like this is what I'm supposed to be doing, you know? Yeah.
I mean, in live music in general, like it's really cool to see like that instant feedback of like you playing something and people moving, and then being as new like as you are and still seeing people like, because that was like, that was when I was in a band, like that was the excuse I would make. I was like, oh, well, they haven't heard this before. Like, you know, if people weren't moving or stuff like that, but seeing certain like bands and just like people have moments where I'm like, dude, they're like, this is like their, you know, first, second show or whatever, and people are like going out for them. Like, dude, like people are, that's why like I like hardcore shows in that way where I'm like, dude, people just feel something and throw down. Like I think they're the quickest to act on like that reaction, like that reaction that their body's having. Just like, okay, like I feel like I need to throw down, and then they'll actually be like, okay, then I will, you know, versus the hesitation with a lot of like other genres or other scenes, I should say, not genre in specific, but like that scene in particular is very like, if I feel like moving, like I'm gonna fucking move. Like it's very much like that. Like it's an instant thing where I think a lot of other genres are a little bit more reserved in like that audience like feeling like, oh, like I want to do something crazy, but then like you get into your head, I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't, but like that scene is perfect where like, oh, if I want to move, like no one else is going to say shit about like me doing what the fuck ever I want to do. You know, it's really cool like in that aspect. But it's funny, like you talking about genre. you almost verbatim like brought up like how Pulse was talking about how they like decided like on a genre. It was like, oh, they started wanting to be like a death band and just it wasn't like what they ended up like wanting to be. But they what they brought up, because I asked them, because if you look on like their Instagram page, it says Voodoo Slam.
Voodoo Slam.
And I'm like, bro, what the fuck is Voodoo Slam? Like I don't know what that is. It's like, oh, we made up a genre for like the sound we make. Because I'm like, that's kind of cool because which I'm sure, like, I mean, you've played music for so long, like the genre talk is always fucking weird. Like it's always like, how do we describe like what this and that? Sure, I can go into like elements, but you won't understand it. You'll just be, if you experience it, that's the best way to do it. Like if you go see it and hear it live or, on a record or whatever, then you're like, oh, okay, like I know what this sounds like, rather than like having to have a label to sound like. I much rather experience like the music and be like, oh, okay, like it sounds like this to me, like to make it make sense in my brain, rather than like somebody else slapping a label on it and me before listening to it already thinking I know what it is,
Right. Like I don't want to say like I'm hesitant to describe what it is. Like, so that's the thing. I'm fairly new to the hardcore community. Like I've only like just like started going to more shows in like the past 2 years, But that's like the beautiful thing, like you just said, like there's no like second guessing of like, I want to move, I want to enjoy the music, and that's what I really love about it. It's like there's no one really telling you not to do anything. Like just react to how you want to with the music, you know. And like before I even started with like, with Dried Remains in general, like I told you earlier, my first band was Remnants of Rome, like that is
this is crazy.
Yeah, that is that is a deep cut, you know. So, and that's the thing, like I started playing music like that, and it's not like we didn't have people who were into it. It was just like you never knew who was going to be into it, or like maybe people were just reserved and like showing how they actually felt towards that music. And it's just cool. Like I don't know. Like I've only lived in Fort Worth, but seeing like the scene here, whether it's a small show or it's like a bigger show, like people aren't afraid to move, and it's beautiful. I love seeing that.
It's cool, and it's I think even like from like when I was younger, I was definitely that reserved type of like stuff. Like I was like, oh, I don't know if I like should like show really like how much I'm enjoying it. Like it was weird, but that's the thought process that would go through my head. I'm like, oh, if I show I like this too much, like people are gonna think I'm like fucking dorky or something. Which, again, hearing me say it, it's like sounds like the stupidest fucking thing. Like if I like something, like I'm gonna fucking like it as hard as I fucking want. Yeah, like why should you not enjoy it? And I think like there's a big part of like communities that have like that reservation towards stuff where it's like, oh, I don't know what really I can do. Like, oh, and I am probably projecting, but this was my parameter. Like I would set myself like I don't know what the parameters. Like I don't know what I'm allowed to do. Like at this show or at this thing that I like or at this like am I coming off like as too desperate like in this thing like to like something or like too much like a pick me person to like stuff, right. And I'm just like, and now I'm just like, dude, just fucking enjoy like to the most of what you like. I go, first of all, like there probably isn't anybody saying anything about you, and if they are, like they are literally not affecting your life in the slightest, literally. Like it's crazy. But I think that's for me as I've gotten older, that's that hold that used to have on me has released a little bit like of its grip, where I'm just like, bro, something's fucking cool. Like it just fucking, I forgot who was I think we had Iggy Meji at the Post one time.
Yeah,
which is
Aaron from DTB is in that band.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool, sick. But yeah, they so I was seeing them for the first time, and like they were playing, and I'm like, oh, like this song sound like Sierra was there, and I'm just like, oh, like whoa. So we like literally started like dancing in the middle, like no one else is fucking dancing, but instead of my head being like, oh, like if we dance, like it's gonna be really weird because people are gonna be staring or this and that. I'm just like, fucking just enjoy a moment, dude. Like if I'm in a band and I see like like I'm playing that and I see two random people just start fucking dancing, I'm like, bro, we just did that. You know what I mean? Like from whatever music, or like if you're like when you're playing, you saw all those people like moshing, you're like, we're fucking doing that. You know what I mean? Like that's because this music is having an effect on somebody, and that's fucking cool. Like that's
it's a human feeling.
Yeah,
and it's just like it's just. Sorry, I'm getting my thoughts together.
Yeah, no,
it's just like. You forget how like it's primal, but it's also like so natural. It's just like you hear something you like, and why not move to it? Mm-hmm. Like, and that's the thing. Like, even though I love playing like this extreme form of, I don't even know what to call it, like Mince is so like weird, because it borders on the line of like grindcore, which is super political, and then it also borders on the line of death metal, which is just like, I guess like death metal has evolved over the years, but it's also very much of like the same vein of like there's no blueprint to it, there's no set way of how you need to do it. It's just how you play and how you feel. At least that's the interpretation I got from it,
Yeah.
And seeing the response from people, like our second show at Haltom Theater, the people were moshing, and it's just like, man, like I don't care what I'm doing, that warms my heart, and that makes me play harder, and it was just cool, like. And then that was, I want to say maybe February or March.
It was March because I think no wait.
No, because we did play again because we had a
you just played it, so it must have been February then.
Yeah, the first show we played at Haltom, we actually had we added Taj, and if you don't know who Taj is Taj is my best friend. I've literally known that man for over 12 years now, and so it was just Dried Remains was just me and Nate. We were just a two-piece for at least like for the first couple of months before we even played a show. We played our first show, just us two, and we were like, guitar and drums is cool, but it's missing something.
Yeah.
And we're missing bass, And that's why we added Taj. And when we had that first show at Haltom, like I think that was the perfect blend of like it's a full sound. You have the bass and guitar and drums, The last show we played at Haltom, it was just us two again. Taj couldn't make it unfortunately. But even then, like I just like there's a certain like I'm struggling to find the words, but it's like a romance with music because it's like, even though like Dried Remains is the band I'm in right now, like I played in Bad Astronauts. Bad Astronauts is completely separate from what Dried Remains is, And it's just like playing any type of music, just I guess that's where it feels like liberating because it's like I don't have to act a certain way when I'm playing any type of music, like if I'm enjoying it, like where's the hurt in that, and like, and that's the thing, like it took me a while, like the last episode I was on, I hadn't been playing music for a while. Like I didn't start playing, like my grandpa just passed, like there was nothing, not to say nothing, but the motivation wasn't there. And it wasn't until later that year, like I was just like, I can't not play music because it's making me even more depressed. Like music is what I want to be playing, And then when we finally started getting back to it, it just became more apparent to me that I was just like, no, I want to be playing music well until I'm 10, 20 years from now, And it's just like, it like leads me into other things. Like it makes me want to like, when we played the Dried Remains show, I was just like, like there's something more we can do here. And what we ended up doing was, so that was the last show we played was in March. And that was with Love Gun and Ulamog from Virginia. Shout out, they were awesome. And so that happened March, and so that next month, no, that was February, dude. Honestly,
the Love Gun one must have been February.
Yeah, that was February. Yeah. And so in March, we actually decided to get Dear Anonymous back together. Dear Anonymous is my old punk band. We started back in like 2013, and it was just been on and off. But we actually, like we threw our own show. We threw a house show, and this happened literally last month, dude. We had, Dear Anonymous. We had Treehouse Cabaret, and then we had another band. They unfortunately had to drop the show, but we ended up getting DTB.
I saw that, and I was like, I couldn't make the show. And I remember seeing like, wait, I had to look because I'm like, was DTV originally on here? Like, what the, like, whatever. And then I just saw him go on. But I know like y'all have been friends like with DTV. I mean, you've been friends with DTV for like the dudes in DTV for a while, right?
Yeah. When Bad Astronauts was playing, I want to say like 2021. Like we had just I wouldn't say we were like super close, but we had played more than like 5 shows with them, and I was just like, I feel close enough to this band to be like, hey guys. So we had a band drop out a week before the show. Yeah. Not even a week, dude. 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like the other band, like they had to drop. Like it was like, I totally understood,
Yeah.
But you get into your promoter hat.
But it puts you,
you're like,
really, you're like, fuck, okay.
Like the friend of me is like, oh, I totally understand.
Yeah.
But the promoter side is just like, what the hell?
I got to figure some shit out.
And so, funny enough, I reached out to Aaron from DTB, and he was like, "Let me ask the guys," and they showed up, man. Yeah. And you know, shout out to them. They played an awesome set.
They're
and
such a good band. Like they're so talented,
dude. I geeked out over them. And what's funny is I didn't really talk to them about this, but so they were playing, right? And I can't lie, I'm kind of a fanboy for them. So some of the songs they did play, we had an extra microphone to the side, and I hopped on and started singing with them. I saw my opportunity, and I was like, man, I couldn't pass this up. But dude, straight up, I want to say like we got a head count. We literally did this at a house show in Northside. We had over like the average was over 60 people.
That's fucking cool.
Man, I can't tell you how like you get like this feeling of like, what did we just do? Like we just threw this together and people showed up.
Yeah.
And that was probably like the coolest thing. Like, I mean, like, you know, we've been friends for over a year now, you know, and like, and like I've seen y'all throw with Noise Rod and I'm just like, man, that's so cool. Like I really enjoy like people organizing events, people coming out and enjoy it. And just like getting to experience that for the first time was just like, I see why people do this.
Yeah. Cause you want to like once you realize that you can cater like these events to make just like a really fun time for people, and then when you yourself are enjoying it, like it's way easier to do that. But that's literally why we started doing it because everybody like in Noise Rod has been in bands, gone to shows, like been part of the scene, and had moments that we like still talk about today. We're like, do you remember this fucking show? Or this, or blah, 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 this lineup, or this and that. I'm like, dude, we just want to be a part of it. Like, we just want to keep creating moments like that for other people, you know what I mean? Because, like, somebody was out there creating those moments for us. Like, we can keep going and give that back and create those moments for, like, you know, whatever new generation. And then, like, again, like, you inspire more people to start doing that. And then it just keeps going. It creates a community. Like, my stance on it has never been a competitive one. It's been more of like, dude, if somebody else starts doing shit because we do it, fucking great. That means there's more shows going on. That means more bands are getting opportunities. That means like there's whatever genre you're looking to be a part of or seeing, like you'll be able to find the show. That's what I enjoy. Because like, I think just the other day I was just looking through, actually yesterday I was looking through like my Instagram and there was like, among my friend group, I think there was like people at like 4 different shows, like, you know, going on all different. And there's that availability for that. That's why like this scene, like DFW is so fucking cool for that because you have that opportunity to be able to see kind of pretty much any kind of show that you want to see. Like, and it's great. Like, I think that just, again, gives more artists opportunities and gives like just an audience the chance to be able to find what they like, you know what I mean? And not have to stick to just like, oh, well, my town only really has this type of shows, you know, and and then you see people who live in like remote areas or rural areas who have to like travel like far to just even see a show. And when we're here, like, oh, the most I gotta drive is maybe an hour because of traffic, you know, and I can pretty much see it. Like you're pretty much always guaranteed that even your big touring bands are going to stop by here somewhere here where you're able to drive to. And then you have a bunch of like small shows that are going on at all times. You know, it's fucking great.
It feels like, so that's the thing. Like we've been in the music scene for a while. Like I haven't been in the hardcore scene as long, but like since 2013, like it only felt like there was only like 2 promoters you could really go to, you know?
Yeah.
And then nowadays, like you have Noise Rot, DIE, The End, there's so many people out there now, and it's just like it's so cool to like see that there's more chances for you to play, you know? And like when back then it was just like you were lucky just to get a spot at like, let's say like a Tomcats or like, you know, anywhere in your local city, you know? And it's just cool now that it's just like if you want a show, like you just have to reach out at this point.
You get one. And I think it's also like one thing I've noticed, it's like more inspiration for new bands to form and have a chance to like play shows, you know what I mean? Because like that was the thing, like when we first were a band, which was in high school, like Under Oblivion, we formed in high school, and I think we played like our school.
You got to specify the year on this one. Yeah,
this is Jesus Christ. Like when we were in high school, like I graduated in 2009, so this is like a long time ago, really long time ago. Yeah, I'm old. Damn. But like this was like when the Door Fort Worth was still a thing, you know.
Miss the Door.
Yeah, it was so fun. Miss both of them. They're fucking both gone now. But I think we played our first show at like a venue was the Ridgely, and this was like the Ridgely. This is
Really?
old school Ridgely.
Which room?
The big one. We played the big one.
You played the theater?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Literally the theater. If I'm not mistaken, I don't remember them having like the other rooms running.
Right.
But also I didn't know much about anything, so don't fucking trust me on that. But we did play the big like room. And it was like some benefit for someone that had passed away that we didn't even know. They just got us on. We were kids at this point. So like I see how like that might have been inappropriate at the time. But I was just like, fuck it. They're giving us a show. We played. It was, again, like this was our first time playing like in front of like this audience. We had like maybe family members there. But
Was
I remember
this your
like,
first show?
in a venue? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've only been in one band ever, which was Under Oblivion.
Under Oblivion?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the only thing I've ever been in. And I remember this dad brought his kid like over to like us after, and he was like, oh, like this is like his first show. Like he like really loved you guys. And the kid was like super excited to see a band. But that was a weird ass show that we got. I don't even know how we got that show. Like it was so weird. Like there was no clear path to like, how do we do this stuff? You know, how do we play live? How do we do anything? You know, there was no really clear path. I think the first people we really started working with was, we had a few, I think, actually, no, when we were the first iteration, we didn't work with anybody. I think I booked, like we played that one and I was like, I want to headline a place right after playing one show.
God
Bro,
damn.
like this is how head ass like we were. Like I didn't know shit about shit. I think I called the door in Fort Worth and they were like on their way out. So they had like a date and I was like, they used to have like, this is how fucking old it was. It was on MySpace and they had their shit like played out. And they had like a slots and they had one day where there was nobody on the slots. They were just taking people to play. So I'm like, there's nobody on this one. Can we headline? And I was like, sure. Like, just tell me who you want to play with. And if you don't have anybody, let me know. We'll fill it in. And I'm like, okay, we didn't have anybody. So they just filled it in for us. And we played a headlining show, whatever, to like 20 people maybe, which was cool. We had a whole venue to ourselves or whatever. But again, like there was no real like person I could go to like to ask for help about this stuff. Nor did I feel like there was a community to be part of. Like we met a band and they're not, obviously they're not a band anymore, but there was a band called Subvert and we like became really good friends with them. But there was no real clear path back then that we had, at least at our level that I thought of.
It felt so like not discouraging, but it's just like you have really had to like know people to like get on these shows. And like, so like, you know, I was in Remnants for like the first part of 2013, and then, you know, we formed Dear Anonymous, and like the only person I can only say that like actually booked us was Torch.
Torch, really?
Torch
Okay.
booked us, man. And that's the thing, like, I have to like give like kudos where they are, because it's like they really like he really did put us on like shows, you know, like not every show is gonna sell out, not every show is gonna do so well, but the fact is like I got that experience from, you know, him. And then as I got older, it was like, oh, okay, like there's more shows coming about. Like, you know, like I want to say Aerolife actually booked a Bad Astronaut show, you know? And then like after Aerolife, then it was like Noise Rot. And then, you know, you had more people coming out, and it's just like, I don't know. Like I feel like if there was a time to play music, it's like now. When it's like you could have started back then, you know, like there was no problem doing it. But now it's just like, if you really want to play, you know, there's no reason for you not to hit up DJ, Jesse, or any of them.
I like that there's just, that opportunity is more available, where I think back when I was coming up, and even like when you were like coming up in your band, it was just more scarce to know like that. So even like when we were playing, like we had like certain people, we worked like Chris Camp had Blue Rupee, I think is what his name was.
Blue Rupee, man.
Blue Rupee, yeah. So Chris Camp was doing that. We worked with him a lot. We worked with Richard Hudson, who had his like own like I can't remember who he was. He was doing stuff on his own. Then he worked with, I think he worked with Third String, and he worked with Go something. And we worked with like we played a lot of shows. It always comes back to like talking about Tomcats and like Rustin, and it's
Rest in peace.
I forgot. Damn it, I can't even remember now. But there was one conversation that I've ever had with Rustin, and it was because I was so new to it. But Rustin knew DJ a lot, so like that's how I got to know who Rustin was. But he had one conversation, and I think it was about genre or music. But he was like, it was basically dwindling it all down to like, why do you play the music you do? Like, oh, like, do you like it? And I was like, no. If you don't, then why the fuck are you playing it? Like, it was something like to that. And I was like, it's the one only brief sort of conversation that I was a part of. But yeah, what he did with Tomcats was so fucking cool because that's for me, and I could be romanticizing the memory or whatever. But I remember like going to shows for the first time because I think I saw DJ's old band, which was Arsenal Failure. It was before.
I was about to say, I don't know who that is. Yeah, that is old, dog.
Old. Yeah, so I went there to see that, but it was the first time I hung out at a venue, like while seeing a band play, and like I remember I got super fucking drunk because I was so fucking nervous, and I had a friend who was like out in the parking lot. He's like, I got a bottle of Jaeger. We were taking shots of fucking Jaeger outside in the car,
Warlock?
And then one coming, and I think we finished like a bottle, like so. I was hella drunk. But it was my first time, again, like having experience where like I was meeting new people. I forgot, I met like some girls from like Germany who were like just happened to be in town for like something. And I was like, people just like come out and see music and like hang out. Like I didn't know what a music scene was like before that. I didn't know that people just went out to shows and stuff like that. I thought you had to know like who was playing or something like that. But being able to see like that place held some of like the biggest bands in like this small ass venue. But
were you there for that Dance Gavin Dad show?
Yeah,
where it was packed to the back to the pool tables.
Back. Dude, I remember getting there because I was with Richard, who wasn't Under Oblivion. We got there and like the line was all the way to the street from where like Tomcats was. We got there and we were waiting and like, we're like, what the fuck?
Me and Taj were there.
Yeah, dude, I was like, that's so fucking crazy. Like they've hosted that. I've seen Vela Maya there, and it's funny because the next time I saw them, they were playing the Factory, and I'm just like, this is fucking crazy. Last time I was standing right in the front of them. I saw Texas in July there,
And are they back together yet? Are they, dude? I actually got to see. I forced the person I was dating at the time because the Texas in July was playing at Warped Tour. I want to say like 2013, like one of the last years they actually put it on. And I was like, man, I have to see this band. Like, and I remember my girlfriend at the time was like, I don't know who that is. And I was like, I don't fucking care. I want to see Texas in July. But that's the thing, man. Like Tomcats was the shit. Like that was like literally, like you just said, that was my first experience. Like seeing like not a local show, but it's like a smaller national show. Like there was a touring band, but like there was a band called Ferris Wheel on Fire. If you know who that is, that's a fucking deep cut. Like so, and like I had known them forever, and then like actually seeing that, like that gave me the inspiration to like they're literally just like me, you know. Like I could form a band and I could play, and that's the thing. Like it just like. It takes that one experience for you to be like, wow, like I really can do this. And that's the thing, man. Like after playing, like I don't even remember where my first show was. I can't tell you. No. But that's the thing. Like it never stopped me from being like, oh, I'm going to do this again, like, and I think I've only gotten to play at Tomcats once. Yeah. It's sadly, I wish I got to play there more, but
it was such a cool experience. And again, like I'm probably romanticizing a lot, but two things I know for a fact. One, Rustin was like the most straight shooter when it came to shit. Like he would book whatever he liked. And I'm like, I like that. I go, he's like, he's very real about that stuff. About like just booking stuff that he thought was good or he thought had potential. And when like, cause I go back and listen to like us at the beginning, I'm like, how like fuck did you like us? You know what I mean? And then the sound guy at the time was this guy I bring up all the time, but his name is James. And that dude could make any fucking band sound fucking great. Like he paid attention. He was very like detail oriented. He was the most chill guy. Like I would always be panicking on stage because I was new to everything. So if we were missing something or something was not like, this isn't fucking playing, like, oh, my chord doesn't fucking work or this and that. He'd always come up and be like, oh, you guys need anything? It's like, oh, this isn't working. He's like, cool, man, I got you. And then he'd go like find it. It's like very relaxed. But my first show that I went to at Tomcats was actually, I just realized it. Arsenal Failure was the second one. It was the first like real experience I had though with like a community of it. The first time I went though was a band called, I don't know what it's called. Actually, you know whose band it was? It was Blake Coddington's band. So Let Down?
Yeah, Let Down. Yeah.
So it wasn't Let Down, obviously. It was
Wait, now I was going to say it's not Let Down.
It was a band I tried out for, and I can't remember the name of them right now. But I tried out. I didn't make it. They went with like somebody else or whatever. But I remember going to see them play, and this was when like Tomcats had a stage on the floor, so it wasn't like
it wasn't the high rise. No, it was a little bit lower.
The lower one. So I saw that. Yeah. And that was one of my like triggers. Like, oh, you can just like you can play like, and they had like I think it was their first show in like a little bit or something. So they had like a lot of people show up. I'm like, they're just like I know these people, and they're playing a show, and like they have people out, like they have a crowd. Like I was like, you can do that, like
right, like that's possible.
Yeah, and I saw DJ play, and DJ's was Arsenal Failure. I think it was like a battle of the bands or something. So it's fucking packed. You know what I mean? Like it was so full because everybody. Battle of the bands always work of like, oh, who sells the most tickets? So
yeah,
there was a shit ton of people.
A little
there.
Shady, but
yeah, damn. Like I think
not all of it was shady. Not all of it.
So it just depends who you were going with. But you knew the ones that were like, oh, there was just like how many, which I get to a degree, but then like I'm fine with that as long as you detail that out in like the rules of it. It's not just like it's because like I've seen some of like I don't even see like Battle of the Bands happen too much anymore, but like they used to happen all the time, and now I get it. Like from if I was a promoter and I was just trying to make money, I was like, oh, this is the way to do it or whatever, and that's where I feel like it was shady. But I do see now like some of the battle bands that I see pop up like have a thing like that. Yes, one of the factors is like your ticket sales, and I'm like, cool, put it on there, and I'm like fine with that being judged. But if it's the only thing where you notice, I'm like, dude, like there was bands like way more talented than that, and then like. How like they win, you know what I mean, or this and that, you know. But it again, it's all subjective too, whatever. But there's some where you would see like, dude, like that. Come on, the other band played better or whatever, you know. But yeah, like so there was a crowd there, but that was my first time like going to a show. Then I realized like, oh, okay, like I want to come to more shows like of this, and that's when I really noticed. I'm like, dude, I want to play music again because this shit seems fun. Man. Like the live show of it, and that's where we played our first show back because we did a battle of the bands when we came back without a bass player. This was before DJ wasn't even in the band.
So Under Oblivion wasn't DJ didn't start Under Oblivion?
No, I'm telling you, it was a high school project. You know who was in it? Okay, so it was me. It was Richard. No, take that back.
Junior. Richard
joined. You know, the original lineup was Junior.
Yeah.
Me. Our drummer was named Ramiro. Our bassist was called, his name was German, and Alan was our other guitar player. That was the first iteration of it. Now, if you really, really look at what I think Under Oblivion was, it was the new new lineup, which was me, Junior, Richard, and Eddie. And then DJ joined later as a bass player. But we started off, when we came back and really like started working again together, it was without DJ. And then DJ joined the band. Because like I think we had like maybe like one new song, one or two maybe, if that, when we played again. So we didn't have like new stuff or whatever. But yeah, when DJ joined, like it just felt like, okay, this is the band. Which, dude, the early days of that band like was argument fucking city, bro. Like, God, dude, how we didn't break up every fucking week was crazy, dude.
I have a distinct memory, man, and I think I tried to confirm it with you, and like the only thing I remember was I think Dear Anonymous played with Under Oblivion at Wits End one time, and because I remember you were the vocalist, and I remember you having this red tank top, and that's the thing. I don't know if I made that up or if like that's just like
I've never played Wits End.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm like, dude. Who was there? Like, it might have been like a different singer at the time, but like I don't remember because I was just like, dude,
it might not have been Under Oblivion then.
I swore, like I heard Under Oblivion. I was just like, I could have swore,
red
you know.
Tank top. Well, I know I've never played Wits End, so I know. That might not have been the venue, but red tank top, I don't know.
Wits End had a different name before that, and I can't remember the name for the life of me. I just remember it as Wits End. Like I just remember getting booked out of there for the longest time. Was like Wits End was like the only place in Dallas we could ever get, you know?
Yeah.
And when it's just like, and then like of course the Fort Worth, like you had You had a rail club, like, and that's the thing. We played the rail club before what it is today. Like the rail club used to be the stage where the bar is.
Stage,
yes, dude, where
the
it
most
had two
awkward
stripper poles. Yeah,
I didn't know it was a strip club.
It was a strip club.
But then, it's funny because when somebody told me like, oh, the rail club used to be a strip club, and then I just like in my head, I just got a flash of like every fucking thing of that layout of the place. I'm like, oh, like that's why stuff is like the way it is. And so I was like, oh shit, like fuck. Yeah, like I remember like I think I was like, I can't remember who I was explaining it to, like Rail Club, and I was like, yeah, like the stage was as soon as you walked in the door, like that was the stage. Like you would be looking at side stage. So like you walk in the door and you're already like side stage, and then you have to go around like and that's where the stage was. It was such like an awkward placement like for it. But then that's why I'm like, oh, then that like sidebar was open, and then they had pool tables where the stage is now. Do you remember that?
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Like where the stage is now.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, man. Like, I don't know, like we're in 2024 now. You know, that shit was 20, like almost 10, like literally over 10 years ago, you know? And it's just like, that's what like even proves to me more is just like, even though that was like so long ago, like that's what I know I want to be doing, you know?
Yeah.
And like, sorry to switch up so fast, but April 27th,
April 27th,
we are having a show in the North Side. We're going to have Pulse. We're going to have Oxy coming out, and then headlining is going to be Dried Remains, you know?
Nice.
And so we actually have a surprise set. I can't announce who it is. I'm just saying, if you show up, you'll know who it is, you know? That just gives you more incentive to show up. I'm not going to say they're another local band, but I'm saying you'd be pretty excited to figure out who it is.
Forever the Sickest Kids.
I saw them at Warped Tour 2011, man. No, 2013. Yeah, 2011.
Yeah.
That was the same year I saw Asking Alexandria and A Day to Remember. When I tell you, OC, I've never moshed harder in my entire life.
To who?
Asking Alexandria. I won't lie to you, dude. Like, Stand Up and Scream was so influential.
We've had this conversation before, but I actually, and I'll take whatever hate comments come back. To this day, have not heard that album.
You still haven't heard Stand Up and Scream?
Even after we talked about it last time, where you're like, how the fuck have you not listened to it?
Oh my God,
it's too much of a commitment.
That's the thing. Like, even like before them, like even like there was just so many bands like Chelsea Grin. Like I remember being in my room, like in the mirror, like practicing my vocals to it. Like that music was really like set me up to be like, okay, like I want to play music, even though it's not the same music I'm playing now, you know, like especially A Day to Remember. A Day to Remember is like
Day to Remember's mine. Like that did it for me.
I can't lie to you, man. Like I know every song that plays. I know like a specific memory I have is whenever like, so Warped Tour 2011 was the first concert I went to without my parents, and I had my older cousins take me, and my older cousins were about like maybe 17, 18. I was 14 at the time. They didn't give a shit about me. They're like, dude, you're on your own. Like, you better enjoy this shit. Like, we'll find you afterwards. And then like, this is whenever What Separates You From Me came out.
Oh,
wait,
okay.
is it What Separates You From Me, or is it Me From You?
Oh, one of those.
Man, dude, and that's the thing.
The Hourglass one.
They started off with Second Sucks.
Fuck, already.
Dude, already, dude. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to mosh, so I just fucking threw my arms and shit, like... But that's the thing, like, you hear music like that, or, like, any music in general, like, you're just like, okay, like, this is what I want to do. Like, I want to play music, you know?
That was the band I used to follow. Like, not anywhere far. I was still, like, not crazy young, but I can't remember how old I was. But I remember, like, I went to, I think, Austin and San Antonio, like, to see them. But it was, like, the one I was just, like, going, like, because they might have missed, like, this town. And I was like, oh, I'm going down there to see them. Like, it was my, like, I need to see this land. Like, I'm going, like, places to see them. And, yeah, like, I love the fact that they were mixed. Like, I mean, they used to, like, reference it at the time. They used to lump them in with, like, easy core, because I was like, oh, it's the easy, but I'm like,
easy core.
Yeah. But I'm like, it's just for me, it was like, dude, it's a touch of heavy that I can like get into, but they would still sing, and I'm like, oh, that works for me. Like I can do that. But then they were I call them my gateway band to like anything heavier, because like after that, like I could list, because I think after that, like I started listening to, which I considered like heavier, was like The Devil Wears Prada.
Speaking my language, buddy.
Yeah, so like I think I heard like Texas is South, and something just struck a fucking chord in me. Like just the bell at the beginning was like, I was like, bro, what is this? I was like, I don't know why, but I fucking liked it. And they also go into singing, but it's that for me felt a little heavier. It was less structured the same way that like A Day to Remember stuff was. And then I just like got to branch off and like dig a little bit like deeper into like some of the stuff.
It felt like a natural progression because it's like, I mean, I grew up listening to like thrash metal, like anything like my parents put on, you know, like I knew like Metallica, I knew like all those classic rock, like thrash metal bands, you know, but it wasn't until like I found music on my own, which was like Devil Wears Prada, like The Word Alive, Winds of Plague, like those were bands where it was just like, I don't really have to, like, it sounds so silly to be like, oh, I'm all about this one genre when you're a kid, you know, when it's just like you get older and you're like, I can enjoy all of this, you know? And then it like, I finally got into like, I want to say like really did it for me was like deathcore, like any like Chelsea Grin, Suicide Silence, like that literally changed me because it was just like, wow, like there is something. Because I'd always liked heavy music, but it was never enough for me. Like, it finally became like, wow, I really love this music. But then, like, you get older and you're like, wow, like, I like all types of genres.
Well, like, yeah, like, people... I've had the instance where people are like, oh, you know, I used to like this type of stuff. And I go, and I've had more of an experience of like, I still like that. I go, but I also like something completely different, new. I go, but you'll play, like, I'll play... Like, I haven't listened to really, like, actively listened to A Day to Remember in forever. But if I go back and, like, listen to, like, For Those Who Have Heart, like, I'm going to fucking have a great time.
I'm going to know
like,
every word.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to know that stuff. And I still, like, enjoy it. But, yeah, music is so fluid. And I love that. Like, music taste, like, because you're going to go from liking one thing and you're going to keep liking new shit. Like, and stuff that you're like... If you would tell yourself now, like, oh, I'm going to like this stuff in the future, like, you don't know. Like, you don't know what's coming out. You don't know, like, the way people interpret music. That's why there's a lot of, like, newer genres or stuff like that that sometimes initially, like, oh, I don't understand. But that's how I see it now. Like, I don't understand the genre. So, like, I'll give myself some chance. And maybe I don't like it, you know, and that's fine. But also I have to take into fact, like, oh, the new generation of, like, musicians are also intaking their own like music at the time, you know what I mean? Like, so I think about like, you know, where my original thing that I ever went to like into, I guess, rock music was first the radio, right? So I don't even remember who exactly, but then I remember my cousin introducing me to Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit. So it was that new metal time, and that's what he was into. So I thought he was the coolest guy ever. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna listen to like Limp Bizkit.
Why is it always the cousins?
Huh?
Like, why is it the older cousins that always show us?
I mean, I didn't have siblings, so it was always so that's like where I was like getting my music to. And before that, it was like before that I was like all hip hop. Like it was literally like my friends, one of my best friends, who he showed me like I think it was like Tupac, and then he showed me like I remember I got super into like the genre of like rap or hip hop was 2001 by Dr. Dre. Like I remember having that on a tape.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I was like, I like this, and that's like when I think the first time I heard Eminem and like stuff like that. So like that's what I was into. So I was into, which I know influences me a lot because that's why I got really into cadences when I started writing music in Under Oblivion and like the screams and stuff. Like I was like, oh, I like thinking about the cadence first before I ever write anything. So like it's like a beat to me. So like I realized that influenced me. But it was that, and then the next big one, like I think I saw Atreyu on MTV. You know what I mean? Like they were playing X's and O's, and that shit just like I was like, because they were screaming on TV, and I'm like, what the fuck are they doing, man? Like I go, this is on like in the daytime. Like I remember like sitting at my grandma's house because we didn't have cable, so I was like sitting at my grandma's house, and like the commercial played where they were advertising the album, and they would play that song, and it would just start with the chorus, and it's just like the boom, something is time to run, you know,
like the clean
like,
chorus, yeah.
I'm like, oh, that shit sounds really fucking cool, and then it starts screaming. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean?
I wish I could remember the first song I remember hearing like screaming on, because it's like it was so different.
Yeah.
Like, not that it was like jarring, but it was just like, you can do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what went through my head. Especially like when I look at it now, like that song has that screamer is like the worst. Like in that song, like particularly, I'm like, oh, this is not good. You know what I mean? Like, it was all like
the fucking fry screaming,
coming out of like a throat. Yeah. But anyways, like so that was the first time I think I saw it, and I'm like, well, the chorus was cool, so I would probably listen to that. And then yeah, they definitely took over, like, wow, because I remember listening to Right Side of the Bed, you know, Crimson Black, whatever, all that shit, all Atreyu, like I got really into. But A Day to Remember scratched the right part of my brain where I was just like, oh, this.
What was the first A Day to Remember song you heard? Do you remember?
I remember, yes, I remember two of them. I don't know which one came first, but I know the one that convinced me. But I heard The Plot to Bomb the Panhandle, and I'm just like, which my friends found super annoying because of the intro.
That shit gets me so pumped.
Yeah. And I'm just like, yeah, hearing that one. And it's funny because if you look at the video, I'll still bring this up, but Jeremy, the singer or whatever, he's very like sassy in that video. Have you
very
seen it?
Very flamboyant in that music video.
And I was like, I don't know why that was like, dude, but like, in that, when he goes into the verses, that dude's screaming really fucking gnarly. I'm like, this is so fucking cool. But the Since You've Been Gone cover that I heard, I'm like, I loved Kelly Clarkson, and I was just like, and that song was fucking great. And then what attracted me from Kelly Clarkson was there's a big ass fucking voice in like pop music, which I didn't realize that's why I was attracting. But I'm like, dude, like you're really fucking good, because I've always been a fan of just like huge vocals. But hearing that song mixed with that, I'm like, to me, I'm like, that's what I would like to do. I go, shit like that seems really cool. Like blending in like a bit of like a pop element into like something heavy. I'm like, that sounds really fucking cool to do. And that's where like I initially, when we first started Under Oblivion, like way back in high school, like that's what in my head I was trying to do. We didn't do that like at all, but that's what was going through my head. Like, I just want to blend like really like cool singing stuff and then some heavy shit. Like, I think that makes sense to me. But yeah, those two songs. And then that's when that was probably one of the first real bands that I became like a fanboy of, was A Day to Remember, which I was following them. I was looking up everything they fucking did, watched all those studio vlogs, you know, shit, buying deluxe editions of shit. You know what I mean? Like, that was my first real experience with that from like them.
That's crazy, dude. That's literally the same for me. Like, so the first song I ever heard from them was Mr. Highway Singing About the End. Like, that's the thing. Like, I have to credit my older cousins, Michael and Ivan. Like, the thing is, like, growing up, I've only listened to, like, thrash metal, or, like, I only listened to, like, stuff that came out in the last 20 years. And it wasn't until, like, I got closer with my cousins, and they were like, dude, like, you need to listen to what's going on right now. Like, I heard A Day to Remember. They showed me that song, dude, and I was just like, what is this? Like, I never knew that, like, it's like weird. Like, you think about breakdowns now and you're like, okay, like that's been around forever. But then, like, when you're a kid first hearing it, you're like, dude, this is the best thing I've ever heard. And like, no, I feel I very much resonate on like A Day to Remember being like the first band to like actually dive into that genre of like, there's different music besides like the death metal, the thrash, the like speed metal. Like there was just other stuff going on. Yeah. And then like going to Warped Tour to seeing like them play live, that changed everything for me. Like, I can't lie, like I was super into the emo scene phase. Like, I mean, I can't lie, man. Like, Sleeping with Sirens just announced a tour. I was this close to being like, I'll go see it. Like, I'm not going to sit here and cap. Like, that was my shit growing up. Like, I loved them, Pierce the Veil. Like, it's just, I can't sit here and lie that I wasn't into them, because that's the thing. They were really good. Like, they're influential. And it's just like, even though I don't play that same music, it was just another reminder of like, I go to concerts to see these bands. And then, like, when I play shows, not necessarily I want people to feel the same way, but I want to feel like how they felt when they're playing that music. You know, like, I want to feel like how when A Day to Remember was making For Those Who Have Heart, you know, like my favorite song off that album is Sorry, I've been drinking a little bit, so I can't remember the song right now. But so now you'll know. Monument. No. Exactly what it feels like to start a fire.
The danger in starting a fire. Yeah.
Dude, the danger in starting a fire. That was. So now
yeah.
Dude, that's the like that was the first song I heard off that album.
Track number 3.
You know, and that's the thing. Like that is
we can just check it right now.
I was looking at it. Like
people can't see that. I'm gonna bring that home.
But that's the thing, man. Like that album has done that album has a lot to answer for. You know why?
Number 3, Danger in Starting a Fire. Right there, I was right.
That was the first song I ever heard off that album. And you know what was the second song? Monument.
Monument is a fucking...
Monument did something to me, man.
You know why Monument did something to me? Because, like... Hold on, I'm not even on the mic. Monument did something to me because that shit was inspirational to me. You know what I'm talking about? Like... $20 says you'll remember me
when you see me on your TV screen.
I was like, yes. I think I was like going through my getting rejected very often phase. So I'm like, yeah, bitch, you gonna see me on TV. That song was super fucking cool. But I mean, fast forward to, damn, it was 2012. So when did that come out? Because that was the name of the song, right?
2009, dude. It had to be in 2009.
Yeah, because it was called Fast Forward to 2012. But like, that song's like what, like a minute long or two minutes long or some shit like that. But that song was fucking like, it starts off really fucking crazy. I love that song. I love that whole album. But that song, A Shot in the Dark was always really fucking cool.
The Price We Pay. That comes right after Monument. Yeah. Why don't bands do that anymore? Why they don't do the soft, not even instrumentals, but like, you know, like in the middle of like some albums, it would either be an instrumental or it'd be like a nice calm break from everything. Yeah. Like, I don't think every album needs it, but like A Day to Remember just did it great, you know?
Well, I mean, it was still like in the era of like where you were experiencing albums. Like, it was less of a single world, you know what I mean? Like, which I think is what we're in now. It's like you need to be real established to like make something. Because if you think about it, that's A Day to Remember's second thing they ever put out. You know what I mean? Like they had an album before that, and even I think that one they had something soft like that too. But it was still like people were, I think, listening, giving.
Yeah, and Their Name Is Treason was the first album.
Yeah. Which had a fucking, what's the song it had?
You Had Me at Hello.
Well, that one too. That was their soft one. Yeah,
that was their soft one.
But I remember You Should Have Killed Me When You Had a Chance. I'm like, bro, and Heartless. See, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I'm screaming that right now.
You Should Have Killed Me When You Had the Chance is like one side of my brain, and then like you hear Heartless, and I'm just like, and I love that they remade it because like they got it to sound better, like mix better or whatever.
The production was awesome.
Yes,
and old school record, right? Or was it?
No, they did it in this one. And
the reissue
of the deluxe version. Yeah. They did that. They redid that one. Actually, they put a different version of "You Should Have Killed Me When You Had the Chance" on this one, a newer version, or just like an updated version. And then they added 2 songs. They added the "Since You've Been Gone" cover, and they added something with a W, water. I don't know, but it starts. It's like a 2-minute song that they added to that. But it was so fucking cool. But yeah, like that was my very first experience with like, oh, I need to know everything about this band, like and having fun like with that. But I going back to what we were talking about like just people's tastes in like music and stuff like that. I'm like, yes, I was obsessed with that, but I also like still remember when I was obsessed with Linkin Park before that. Like I still remember when I was obsessed with, Dr. Dre before that. I still remember when I was obsessed with all this fucking Spanish music that my like parents are like, that doesn't go away. You know what I mean? It just, you carry it with you. And that's why I like creating music and writing stuff is just a culmination of all of that shit. Even if you're writing, you're writing mints, like you still have all of this fucking influence that you've like received over the fucking years that somehow or another will manifest itself somewhere, whether it's subtle, whether it's unconscious, like it'll still create something new. That's why like I feel like people need to embrace that ability of like listening to like everything or as many things as you can differently. So from what you're writing to create something new, you know what I mean? Like that's for me, this is stuff like I like stuff that's comfortable, that's easy to listen to, and then I like stuff that like makes me think about certain shit. Like, I forgot what. And then it's cool to get like burnout like on your favorite bands and stuff like that, and find something new. Like maybe it's time to like listen to something different.
I always credit it to like literally from when the time I was born up to about 8th grade before I went into high school, like I only listened to a certain type of music. Like I like was really strict about it. And, like I was kind of a dick about it too,
Yeah.
because I was like, I don't listen to anything else. And then like my school gave everyone iPads for freshman year, right? And so that's the thing. You didn't have Spotify back then. You had Pandora. And so like Pandora literally showed me. It sounds so embarrassing, but literally Pandora showed me Weezer and Sublime.
Really? Yeah.
And that's the thing, dude. That's what did it for me, because it was like, it's not that I was bored with like metal. It was just like, I've been listening to that all my life. And it was just like, there's something different. Like, I don't have to listen to the same music all the time. And that's what's beautiful about it. Is just like, I've never like, I've told like a bunch of like I've told my parents this especially, like I never just want to be one thing, and that applies to music. Like I never just want to play one type of music. Like I love jazz, I love fucking metalcore, I love deathcore, I love like you said easycore earlier. You know what that reminded me of?
What?
Fucking Chunk No Captain Chunk.
Oh my god,
Like,
that's another one that I know by name only.
really?
Yeah,
Dude, that's
I've
the
never
thing,
listened.
man. Like, I remember being, like, super into them. And that's the thing, like, music, like, it never felt like I should be a part of just one genre. Like, it's just like, why should I just confine myself to one genre when it's just like, I enjoy all these other ones, like...
It feels just fucking like you got a fucking superpower once you just like don't limit yourself to that, and you're just like, bro, like I want to write everything. And I think that's why I like when artists, now I used to hate it, like, but when an artist would change their fucking sound and do something different, now I appreciate in the fact of like, bro, you just like are wanting to make sure you still create something that you love, you know what I mean? Still keep being weird. I think who I talked to, not talked to, I wish I had talked to them, but I was listening to like a podcast where Danny Brown was on it, and he was talking about like how he like all of his, I think, hip hop albums that he's put out, or like he's like, I guess you call it hip hop, but he's like, they've all like been critically acclaimed, like, but I don't make money like that, you know what I mean? Because I've always just made shit that I wanted to find interesting and weird, like, you know, with shit that people call weird, like I'm like, why not do it? You know what I mean? Like do something like that to make sure that I like it, you know, and that's one of like my biggest driving things forward. Like if I were ever to do music again, like that's my only concern is like, I just want to make some shit that I like and not worry, especially like now where I'm in my life, I'm less worried about like what somebody thinks is cool and more worried about like, what do I like, would actually listen to? Like, what am I going to actually like, if I get in the car, like I want to be hyped as fuck to play my own shit. You know what I mean? Like I would love that. I go, so that would be my only concern. Like, what am I writing? Like, and then I wouldn't be concerned about like confining myself to like a genre either. Cause I'm like, oh, if I want to write fucking something, like I just want to write it, you know, like just do whatever you want because you are capable of creating so many like different things. Like limiting yourself is crazy to me, you know? You personally, like if you want to limit a project to like a certain sound, sure, people do that all the time. But that's why I like, especially like the hardcore community does it a lot, but they like, everybody has a side project, like at least one. But like
Some of the best hardcore bands, literally all those members are in like 5 other bands.
Yeah. I was, dude, I can't remember who the fuck I was talking to in here. I had the dudes from Cold Case, right? They were talking in here, and then I was just focused on Cold Case. Like, oh, you know, some of their members are in
Kaitetsu, yeah.
Kaitetsu. But then the other guy was like, oh yeah, I play for Backacre, and I'm just like, what the fuck? And I'm like,
where the fuck is Backacre?
I was like,
where the fuck are they?
He told me that after we were finished. So I'm like,
Graham, if you're listening to this, bring Backacre back.
Because every time I think of Backacre, I think of Graham. Like that's who like comes to mind. But yeah, he's like, yeah, I play. You know, I also play in Backacre. I'm like, bro, you are lucky you didn't mention that during the podcast because I wouldn't have shut the fuck up about Backacre. I fucking love Backacre.
I literally tried to book them like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, dude. I fucking they're so fucking good. They just need to write more music because they got something. But yeah, like everybody, and again, like if you think about it, Cold Case, Backacre, two completely sides of like something like you. If you're only surface level looking at music, like that's not something you would associate together. But that same person that's writing those things is writing in both. You know what I mean? Like you have the capability to do all this like new crazy shit or different than what, if you were limited, then we wouldn't get a lot of like the projects we have these days, whether it's not combined. Cause I think that's my love for like that is probably stems from stuff like, like fucking like Linkin Park, because of like new metal was like, oh, to me was like it's introducing a genre of music into one that I'm comfortable. So it's like, oh, it's a lot of hip hop cadences and shit like that introduced with like some level of like rock music together, and they were combining it, and I'm like, that's cool. But ever since then, I'm a big fan of shit that like combines stuff that goes like well together. I can't. I always think, oh,
You ready?
Yeah.
Can I get an encore? Do you want more? Can't roll with the book.
People talk shit about Collision Course. I was obsessed.
Same here, brother.
Course. I'm like, this is fucking great.
Why weren't more people obsessed with that?
I can't remember. If I'm not mistaken, it's DJ who doesn't like Collision Course.
Really?
If I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm talking shit, but it's somebody that I know who was like, I just fucking hate it.
Collision Course really like brought me into like making other friends in like music like that.
Yeah, because it was so fucking just cool to see as a thing that I mean, who the fuck would think about that? And then like, yeah, Encore dropping on that was like one of the biggest fucking hits with that combination of shit. I'm like, this fucking just works. Like, and that was one of the things that clicked in my head. I'm like, oh, you can make this stuff work together like very seamlessly. Because yes, I had like Linkin Park had elements of like hip hop and stuff like that, but this was like fucking Jay-Z, like, and then adding that like into a song, I'm like, oh, that's an actual like hip hop icon, like. And then they're playing like together, combining these songs and making like,
and it was
something
good.
completely new that felt completely new. You know what I mean? To like the stuff, like they had a lot of like those combos that just fucking worked. And I'm
like what they did with I can't remember what song they collaborated with Jay, but it was Linkin Park's "Faint." Dude, I can't lie to you. Like
"Faint" and
boom,
Jigga what?
Jigga.
Right?
That's the thing, dude. Like,
is that what it's called?
I don't know if that's the name of the song, but that's the thing, dude. Like, I remember being like 11 years old, and my tío like was showing me that, and he was just like, "You need to listen to this," and I would be like, "Man, it's all right." But I was just like, it wasn't until I got like I was 16, 17 where I was just like, dude, like this music really is like, it's just like why do I have to like feel like I have to like feel like I'm pushing the boundary when it's just like I'm playing music that's fun, you know? And that's what it felt like. Collision Course really felt like we're playing our music with Jay-Z. And it's just like, why can't I do that with another artist? Like, Dear Anonymous actually got to collaborate with another rapper named Zoni.
Really?
And I've known him since high school. And it wasn't until after high school where I reached out to him, was just like, you know what, dude? Like, we're not rap in any way, but like, I would love to have you on a song. And, you know, like, and that's the thing. Like, Dear Anonymous never got too big, but I'll stand by this. On SoundCloud, we got over 400 listens on our song with the remix from Zoni on there, you know? And that's the thing, man. Like, I realized, like, there is a genre for someone out there, you know? Like,
that's what, like, that's the other side of, like, complaining against, like, oversaturation is, like, the other side of it is, like, if there's someone fucking out there who's gonna be like, holy shit, this hits every fucking box that like I didn't know existed for me. You know what I mean? Like, and you find that like every day, like someone's creating some sort of music and it's up. Like it's crazy. Like I don't know if you knew, like Spotify has some playlist. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a thing it has every song that has never been played. Like it's got a bunch of like 0 played songs. And so there's like songs that, and it's sad to a degree because I'm like, no one's listening to this, but it's also like, oh, you can listen to something like for the very fucking first time, and it might be like this niche genre, or you just might be the person to be like, oh, like I heard something cool and spread it. That's why I think that's important. I think it's important to talk about shit that you like, because I find it more powerful, like word of mouth spreading like music than like you putting up promos, like or something like that. Like I think if I find a band that I like and I like go tell somebody, I'm like, hey, like you need to listen to this band, like that person's probably gonna listen to them or take it more seriously because I know who they are. So they're gonna be like, oh, okay, like they know what I like, so I might like this. You know what I mean? And it's open. Like for me, I've received a lot of like those, suggestions that I've been like, holy shit, like this is really fucking good. Like I remember this is a local, but there was this band called Arctica out of Louisville, Kentucky.
Damn.
Yeah. And DJ tagged me in a video that he saw, and he was like, I think you like this sounds like the stuff that you like. Cool, tag me. I'm like, holy shit, this sounds really fucking cool. we ended up getting them to play a show with us. Like this was before we were like a Noise Ride or whatever. So this was through our friend, actually Chris Camp. So we sent him the band and we are like, hey, like these guys want to come through town. Like, see if you can get them. He's like, I'll book them, but you guys will have to play too. And we're like, okay. So I played with them. I went on stage and sang like the song with them or whatever. They stayed over at the apartment, like when we were living at the apartment. Like they stayed over, and then the next time they came through town, like they stayed over again. So like we met like these people off of like somebody sending me a suggestion, and like they were they were a good band and they were fucking cool. And I'm like, this is fucking great. You know what I mean? And this is off again, the reason I listened to it, because I'm like, DJ knows what I like. And he's like, okay, we're friends. Like, so if he sends me something, he's like, okay, like, I'm going to like that. Like, I've done the same thing, to him. Like, if there's something if I think you're going to like something, like, I'm one of those that'll just send it like, hey, listen to this. You might not hit or might not, but I feel like somebody will be more open to listening to it because I'm like, oh, well, they're sending me something, I'm going to pay attention kind of thing. But it also, I mean, depends on who's sending it to you too. Like,
Right? What's funny is, so I've actually played with Treehouse over 9 times.
Really?
And it wasn't until Taj told me about my best friend Taj.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, there's this band playing in Northside called Treehouse. And so we played a 420 show in 2014, literally 10 years ago.
Damn.
Almost to the day. and that was the first time I ever heard about them. And that's the thing, like, you don't really realize until, like, there are local bands who play music you like, Yeah. And it's just like, you just don't know about them, or like they aren't like, I don't know, like it isn't like today where you can actually just ask to be on a show, whether it's like, I don't know, like I love local shows because it's just like, I really want to know what's going on in my scene. Yeah. Like, I can't lie, like, dude, like still Animal Jam is my favorite band in the DFW scene. Like you took me to go see them at Trees, dude. Yeah. I'm still pissed. I'm still
so mad about that.
I'm still pissed we only got to see the last song, but that's the thing, dude. I love Animal Jam and I will see them anytime I can,
These guys are so fucking talented.
Shout out Animal Jam. They're fucking awesome. Yeah, and that's the thing, man, like that's the thing. Like, if it's good music, I'm gonna want to watch it. You know, like I don't want to name drop too many bands, but like
name drop.
I love Bad Lives.
Bad Lives is so good.
I love Jordan, dude. Jordan's such a. There he is. See, there he is. Like, Jordan's actually a really good like vocalist. Like, I love. I hate to be. I'm not even trying to be a head ass right now, but like, dude, Ballista. Ballista.
Ballista. Say it right.
Ballista. Like, but that's the thing, man. Like, they make music that I actually like, and it's just like, I never want to copy anyone, but that's the thing, man. Like, when you see someone personally is making music you like, it gives you even more motivation to be like, why am I not doing that? Like, why am I not playing the music I actually want to play?
Well, I think I can't remember what podcast it was. It was recent, but I was talking about like, what's fucking cool is that I do have bands on like my favorite bands list that are from fucking here. Like, so I think I talked about Cherry Mantis. Like, I fucking like the last album they dropped, I fucking like was listening to that over and fucking over again. And I'm like, I fucking love that. Like, bands that have broken up, stuff like that. Werewolf, Theirwolf, I still bring up quite often because
that's like probably one of my favorite trips from the Austin trip is when we had a playlist of nothing but bands who've broken up.
Yeah, literally, like I started a series and we're doing that. Like, I did one. Oh, Hollowell is another one where I bring up a lot, which is funny because like I don't know if you saw, like I posted a video where I'm like, oh, I started a series where it was like DFW bands that have broken up that I miss or whatever. And then Hollowell was the first one. And then everybody started talking, like all the members started talking in the comments. And I'm like, bro, if you decide to come back, like I will do everything in my fucking, whatever you need, like I fucking got you.
Bring Meech Pango back, please.
Dude, Meech Pango. Jesus. Wow.
They were so good, dude.
Alex, come home. The kids miss you. I think, that was like, as far like catchy as fucking music, but like energy at a show and having a crowd that responds to it, like and reciprocates it. Like I can't remember like how many times I got to see them, but they were so fucking good and like just talented like people, you know. I still like every time whenever they would bring up the fucking trombone like out of nowhere and start playing that, I was like every time I knew it was coming after the first time I saw it, but I would still get fucking hyped every fucking time. They had a song called Full Tilt and they would all like get it important and do the little tilt thing on the ring. I'd be hype as fuck. I'm like, that's so fucking cool. But
did you go to that the mixed genre show? So it was a Meech Pango at a Rail Club, and Ashes played and Xavier Wolf played.
No, I don't think so.
Man, I can't lie to you. Like, so that's the thing. Like, I was there for Meech Pango, but I stayed for everyone else because it was like they're not rap, they're not hardcore. You know, like that's the thing. Like, I think of those other bands as like underground rap, but then like you hear Meech Pango and they actually are playing songs. And I want to say their drummer is actually the drummer for Nautilus, no? Or am I tripping? Is that Chris?
I don't know, but I hate that I discovered Nautilus after they were dead.
Dude, Nautilus is so good. And that's the thing, man. Like I miss like 2021 because like No, not 2021, not 2019, because right before the pandemic hit, Bad Astronauts got to play with Trauma Ray and Animal Jam.
I was literally about to bring up that show. So that was my first.
I want to grab a soda. I'll be right back. Keep talking.
Yeah, grab me one.
Okay, I'll grab you one. Do you want the sugar free?
I'm like, yes, yeah.
Okay.
You got it?
I'm listening, yeah.
Here, I'm going to start making myself a drink. You bring that.
Yeah, make me one too.
I got more batteries charging. Oh no, Zen. The cat we're taking a brief intermission. I'm pouring another glass.
But you know, man, like, I don't know, man. Like, so that's the thing. Like, I love playing mints. Don't get me wrong. Like, I never thought I was going to be playing this genre at all. But like I still love playing, like, you know, like we were talking about Zeliak. Like I love like different types of like music. Like there's no reason to stick with one type of music. Like I fucking love Hall & Oates. I love old shit, dude. I can't lie to you, man. Like, and like the most recent the most recent music I'll go with is I've been fucking with the Bleak a lot.
Bro, do not fucking get me started on Bleak. Jeez. I fucking love that. Because, and I was talking to Dewey, low-key flex or whatever. Yeah, Dewey was on podcast. But we were talking about that, and it was cool because he was talking about, oh, you know, I grew up on stuff like Chevelle and things like that. I'm like, and I was like, that's why Bleak makes sense. Because that's like, it's a newer version of that style, like, but
a natural progression of
that style. And again, when I told you when we first started, I was like, oh, I started on that whatever was on the radio type music, which was that alternative stuff. Like that was the first introduction to rock music, and seeing it go to what like Bleak does with it, and then seeing Bleak live is what does it for you, because like, Fosh brought it up, and he was like, yeah, like when you go to a Bleak show, you see all the kids that would be like at a hardcore show or whatever, and it's like because it just makes sense. And Bleak finds a way to make that shit heavy as fuck and still like, I don't know, it's a perfect fucking mix for me or whatever. But before you went out, yeah, you were talking about this show. This is why we started like really what inspired like Chill Sounds and Breakdowns was this show. And this was a show that DJ did. Does it reach?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Yeah, so DJ was working with Arrow at the time. This was before we did Noise Rock. So that's where he got a bit of like booking experience, you know. But we did this show. He did this show. I just went. He did this show, and it was a mixed genre show, which was Punk Drunk Goose at the Red Goose Saloon.
At the Red Goose
Saloon,
man.
And look at this fucking lineup. It was Nautilus.
Read it out. Yeah, read it out.
Nautilus, Tony Love, The Ends. This is Back Ace, but I'm guessing it's Backacre.
It's like, Backacre. Yeah, it's Backacre.
Bad Astronauts, Ladybug, which was Kyle's old band. Which Ladybug, did you see them?
They had the giant drum set that was literally the size of a human.
And then he would like the singer was wearing like a fucking
eye patch.
the eye patch, and he had that yellow fucking like karate gi or whatever.
They were the shit, dude.
Yeah, it was fucking sick. Animal Jam and Trauma Ray like played that fucking show, and I'm like, this is. But seeing like Animal Jam play like next to Tony Love, like I was like, this is so fucking cool. And like in my head, something clicked for me there. I'm like, why can't you just do this on the regular? Like, why can't you just put like hip hop acts next to this stuff? Because that room was full the entire like show, and I'm like, and people were like both of that stuff, and I'm like, and that's when I was started to realize like, oh, like someone who would normally not come out to this type of show might be able to open themselves up to a new artist because they're seeing somebody that they are familiar with, and then we pair it up with something like, hey, if you like this, you might like this. It's basically like a suggestion thing, but cross genre wise. It's like, oh, you might like these elements in this, so maybe you like something over here. You know what I mean? Like there's things that pair up. And also, like, there's a way to do mixed genre where it like makes sense and you can create new fans out of it, out of people. But also, just the vibe of that night was just like people hanging out. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that I like. In when we create shows, it's something that I really want to figure out like the formula for that. It's like, how do you just enjoy? How do you treat a show as just like your night out? So like I was talking to, actually I talked to a few people. Who have like been in Europe, like these, like I think I talked to Letdown, I talked to Jonathan, and we were talking about like Europe, how their culture is different, and I think I can't remember which one of the two told me, but they were like, it's the difference in Europe is like with music is that they treat going out to see music, like live music, as that's going out to the bar, like that's the culture of like going out and like having a few drinks is like going out and seeing live music, like seeing a show, seeing this and that. I go, and it's a little more focused like on that end for that. I'm like as a hang, and I'm like I think it's just the hangout portion of it. Like you need to have both, so it's like creating a sick ass lineup and for the vibe to be like a good time, like so where you're like, oh, you get to see your friends, you meet like someone new, like blah blah blah, like that's, and it all comes back down to community. Like that's what it's about. It's about creating that space where you can go see music that you like and hang with people that you like. You know what I mean? And again, make that community bigger by, you know, adding more friends to the mix. And there's everybody in the scene who can find me like, oh, like, yeah, I met this person at a show and that's why we're friends like now. Like if you pinpoint, like even when I look at like some of my friendships, it's like all these people I met through like shows, like or you know, met somewhere here, or they played in a band, or they did this and that, and now we're like, you know, friends. Like I think I had Grey Bloom in here the other day, and I was like talking to them, and I'm like, yeah, the first time we had a conversation was here. Like, I mean, we talked in passing, but our first actual conversation here, and like, and now we're friends. You know what I mean? Like, you're here a year later, and we haven't like not talked in that year. Like, we've literally hung out like in that year and talked to each other. I'm like, that's cool. Like, we met through music. Like, you know, same thing. Like with like some of these people. Like, I bring up, and we brought up like me getting engaged, but I had Lucas from the band Laredo play.
Shout out band Laredo.
Shout out the band Laredo, but like play there, and that was like,
if you lose your shot, dude, they're so good.
They're really fucking good. But yeah, going from like, I knew like I was like, that's locally, that's definitely somebody that was like a fanboy. Was Lucas. I always say his last name, but I won't say it. But. So I knew him from Hollywood, and I learned about the band Laredo, and then I saw them live when we booked them for a show, and like it was a year later, not a year later, it was a little more later. Being that in like that intertwined into like my life, that was someone that I met through there, and now like they're literally part of like, you know, one of the biggest moments of my life, like up until now, and I'm like, it's so cool, like what music has brought into like my life, and it's crazy. That's why like when creating Noise Rider, doing everything that we do, and even like now that you're discovering about booking shows and stuff like that, those are like moments that you realize like, holy shit, like creating moments like that, not only for yourself, but you get to hear it from other people where they like start talking about a show. Oh, remember when we were at this, like blah blah blah, like, you know, they creating their own individual experiences is, and you being to get a part of like curating those moments is so fucking dope.
It's electric, dog.
Yeah,
like you don't like. It's not that I don't want to say like you don't expect it, but it's just like it's such a great feeling because it's like, of course we don't do this for like the vanity of it. We don't do it for like the prestige. We do it just because we want to, you know? And it's just like when people actually come out to see it, you're just like, wow, like people actually do care, you know? And that's why I was just like so like fascinated with like Hardcore Fest. Like, don't get me wrong, I never thought it was gonna be that big. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't think it was gonna be that big. But every band had a crowd. And that's the thing, like I only want bands to have crowds. Like I only want people to enjoy playing music and people who are going to the shows to enjoy it, you know?
So that's I brought that up to DJ and I were talking like this past year. We were talking about like some of the ideas that we brought out and stuff like that. So one of them we tried last year was a concept called Noise Night, which was like local lineups like on but we were doing it on Mondays because the Post was giving us control over the Post like on Mondays and stuff like that. So we were trying to make it work. And the only thing that upset me by it, and I was telling him, I was like, this is the thing that upsets me, is like, it's one, like we have a lot of stuff going against us on a Monday night, this and that. I go, but what upsets me is that the lineups we put up, like if you go back and look at every one of those lineups for Noise Nights, like they were fucking bangers. Like they were the most like fucking talented people, and we're like putting it out. And then when you become a part of like the promoter process, it's like, this fucking sucks. Like I feel like they should definitely have way more people than this shit. And that starts affecting you. So that's why you cater like everything after that. It's like, it's not just like we're not just putting on a show to put on a show. We want to make sure we do like our due diligence to get a crowd in front of these people, not because it's going to do well for us or whatever, but because these fucking artists deserve to have like that crowd in front of them, that interaction, that feeling you see when you're playing and there's people out there fucking vibing out. Like that's what the artists that when we work with artists, like that's what we think they deserve, you know, because like these people are fucking talented. So that's what we try, like, you know what I mean? That's all we can do. Like, is we're doing our best. Like, what can we do? Can we create like promo shit for yourself? Like, what can we do? Like, we can show you off like stuff. Like the podcast still goes on, so we can keep doing free promotion stuff for like other people and like use it. Like, I understand, like as an artist, you want to focus on your music and stuff like that. Cool. Like if I can do anything to alleviate some of that and you just worry about making cool music and playing live, good, man. Like, let's do what we can to get more people in to see you. Because, again, this scene is, like, so fucking talented, dude. And I'm just here, like, for the fucking ride, man.
Like, we went to, what was it called? The IM Festival in Denton.
Texas Death.
Texas Death, dude.
Texas Death
like, y'all surprised me with that, you know? And I was just like, you know, like, that's the thing. I love going to shows. Like, I'll go to Dos Equis, I'll go to Granada, but that's the thing. That was in Andes. That was in Denton. That's
fucking crazy.
And it was fucking crazy, you know? And that's the thing. Like, I had just as much as fun there than I would have had at any other show, you know? And that's the thing. Like, why not throw local shows that feel like national touring? But that's the thing, dude. Like, a lot of these local bands, like even Noise Rot, like y'all are getting some national bands. And that's what it's just like. I hate to say that like national tours are like overpriced, but like if I'm paying $15 to see a touring band I like, I'm gonna pay that all day.
I mean, it is one thing to consider, especially like nowadays. Like bro, everything is so fucking expensive. Like it's just going up. So everybody has to be selective about what they go out. Like I even take like into account, like if I look at it just personally, I'm like, yeah, dude, like there's a lot of shit that I see that I'm like, I would love to go to that, but I can't like afford to go like to all like everything that I like. So like even this year, even before like the engagement and everything, where we're thinking like, oh, we got to save up for like a wedding and shit. I'm just like, oh, like I see like a ton, like, oh, I would love to see, because there's like a lot of shows that I would just like to see, you know, nothing where I'm obsessed about. But now like I'm being a little more selective. I'm like, okay, like let me see if I like can do this, you know, or can do that.
It off for this date.
But that's why like local shows, I think, are what you could fill that up with without having to spend like a shit ton of money, and you still can have like a fun fucking time. You know what I mean? And luckily there's a lot of like people creating shows around, you know what I mean? Like, that you can find one to go to, you know, like pretty often to see like something. If you just want to go hang out with your friends and see some music, bam, like there's going to be a show. Like there's no way like every fucking weekend, there's not like the show every fucking day, every day of the weekend, you know, Fridays, you know, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like there's some shit popping up. And then even like during the week, you find some stuff like one-offs and things like that. Like DJ and I, years ago, we started going to shows on Tuesdays. Like we used to call it Take Me Out Tuesdays. And we would just like go like find like a random show, you know, like Silhouette of Nude. We saw them at Lola's. It was like on a fucking random ass Tuesday that we went out to like see them. And
you ever heard of a thing called Swag Me Out Fridays?
no, what is that?
So Swag Me Out Fridays was a front. So you hear Swag Me Out Friday and you're like, oh, okay, that's like rap music. No, it was a lie. It was a front to, this is going to sound fucked up. So in early 2011, 2012, my cousins told me about this. There's this thing called Swag Me Out Fridays.
Okay.
And it was not what you thought it was. You hear Swag Me Out and you're like, oh, okay, like rap. No, dude, Swag Me Out Fridays was strictly like metalcore, deathcore.
What the
like,
fuck?
yes, dude. And that's the thing. Like they built these shows up to bring people who you would think be into that genre. And I can't lie, it was under false pretenses.
Yeah.
You did not hear what you think you were going to go to. But that's the thing, dude. I remember going to that when I was 12 years old. Like, that's the thing. Like, I remember that because it's like, even though those bands aren't still together today, like, those are the bands that, like, made me want to play music. Like, I know for a fact I'm not a vocalist, but that's the thing. Like, you hear shit that makes you want to be a vocalist.
First of all, that's bullshit because I've seen you and heard you sing Bobby Caldwell.
That's karaoke, dog.
Nah,
I'm talking about like playing music by yourself. You know, like
do that one more. Do the first line of that.
I guess you wonder where I've been.
Ooh.
I did it for you because I love you, buddy. But that's the thing, man. Like, I remember being 12, like 11, turning in 12 years old. Like, my cousins taking me to concerts. Like, I can't remember where we would go, but we would go to this thing called Swag Me Out Fridays. And that's the thing. Like, people wearing snapbacks and shit. I will never judge anyone for anything, what they wear, what they listen to. But, like, you think of, like, being so young and taking you to somewhere where, like, you've never been before. Like, that's the thing. Like, I have such a respect for deathcore. Like, people make fun of it. People don't like it. But that's the thing, dude. I have such a respect for it because it's, like, it brought me to the people, like, I know and love and respect, you know? Like, Chelsea Grin, Suicide Silence. Like, even though those are, like, popular bands, like, you don't realize that, like, those bands actually do influence you on how you play music. Like, I can't lie, dude. Like, my cousins are the only reason why I got into that music. Like, A Day to Remember. Like, I remember my cousin Michael showing me Mr. Highway's Thinking About the End. And that's the thing, dude. I could not stop thinking about that breakdown because it was just like, I never heard anything before, you know?
You know what's cool? I'm gonna interject on that breakdown. That so that used to be an intro. When I saw The Day to Remember for the first time, that was their intro. So they would start just the show with like, and just stop. No, they would like stop. It was a build up to that, but it would literally what became that breakdown was their old intro that they used to use. And I remember listening to the record. I'm like, I fucking know this drum cadence. Like, what the fuck is happening? And then they used it as a breakdown. I'm like, oh shit, that's fucking cool. Because it was like years later when they made that record. So
that's
I'm like,
the thing,
that's
dude.
so
Like,
fucking
that's
cool.
the thing. Like, I came in years later.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. Like, the first time I saw A Day to Remember was What Separates You From Me, and like that just hit. It hit something with me because it was like you said, like Devil Wears Prada, A Day, Asking Alexandria. Like, of course, like, we don't play the same music as they do, but like they played a major influential part in like how we actually play music. Like, even though I don't sound like Asking Alexandria, like they did something to me. Like, I remember being 12 years old, being in my room, practicing screams to them. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I will never sit here and talk shit on them. What was that?
Hold on, we'll be right back.
Okay. Sorry, I'm having a lot of fun right now.
It's all right. Yeah.
I haven't seen you forever, buddy. That's why I'm just like, man, I'm letting loose right now.
I'm gonna let it go. Yeah. I'm like, one of them's gonna die, but it's fine. But we're still here.
to promote what was going on is April 27th. You know, we're gonna have Oxy and Dried Remains. Hold on, wait. Pulse. Yeah. We're gonna have Pulse and Oxy play with my band Dried Remains, and we're gonna do that in Northside. I don't want to put the
So you don't no yeah, so don't put the address out there or anything.
No.
But like what is this space?
I'll be honest with you, dog. So it is a house, but we're on an anchor land in Northside. So I really I know I know you weren't able to make it for the last show.
Yeah.
But dude, literally we played outside, like literally in between two trees, and it looked like a natural stage. And that's the thing, man. Like, it got me thinking. It was just like, why are we not putting shows here? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, of course, like if cops shut us down, then we're shut down. But it's just like, let's push the filter. Like,
Dude, yeah, like house shows, and I'm talking about like I've experienced house shows like in more recent time because like I like stuff like I remember like House of God in Denton that I've like got a chance to go to, and like just a few more of these spaces that I've seen. But playing a fucking show outside is something that when we were playing in high school, we had a friend. His name is Gerardo. What the fuck? I feel so fucking stupid for saying that. His name is Gerardo. Damn, I forget I'm Mexican sometimes. What the
Sorry,
fuck?
buddy.
Gerardo. No, yeah. So he had a band called Through Sleeping Sight. And we played his backyard once. It was him and it was another guy. I think his name was Daniel. I can't forget his last name, but his name was Daniel. But they was like, hey, like, yeah, we like they really liked our band, and it was one of the first interactions where we were like playing, and someone like really liked us, and they were like, oh, like we like we're gonna do a house show, whatever. It was just a fucking party. But I remember it's because it's probably overhyped in my head, but I've talked to people about it and they remember it the same way. But like we were playing a song that was called Mr. Big Dick's Revenge.
what the fuck?
But it's like it was one of the songs that we had that had an actual like breakdown in it. So
was that a placeholder name or was that
it was so we had a name, it was a placeholder name, yes. And I was like, we'll just call it that, whatever. And then we were on stage and we had named it something else. And we were on stage one time and I fucking forgot it. So I was just like, I was like, fuck, I can't remember. And nobody could remember it. And then we were just like, it's called this. And then from then on, we just fucking just left it at that. But we played that and had a breakdown. We had just finished playing the song. And we saw like a cop car pulling up because it was like in like a residential area. So like they were coming through the alleyway. And I was like, oh, I saw the cop. And I don't know what the fuck courage I got out of nowhere, but I was like, you know what? I don't give a fuck. We're doing this fucking breakdown again. I don't give a fuck about that damn car. So then like we start playing the build up to it. And like right when we're about to hit the breakdown, the cop turns on the lights. So you just see like blue and like fucking red lights. And then like the breakdown hits and we just play it the fucking way through. And I'm just like, in my life, I'm like, this is the greatest like moment I'm ever going to have of like commanding a stage or whatever. Cause like, everybody was fixing to run, but when I like started talking, everyone stayed around and just like kept like moshing and stuff like that. And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. And then the cops, literally all they said was like, oh yeah, you need to turn it down. I was like, cool, whatever. But I was like, dude, like, but there's something about like those shows. It adds more to the vibe hangout. We're just like, oh, we're just hanging out with friends and we're fucking watching like bands play, dude. There's something special about that. But April 27th, plan it out right. This should be out literally like the week before.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what you're telling me.
Yeah.
That's the thing, man. Like I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I love venues. I love and respect venues.
Yeah, we're in.
Right here. Clink.
This is soda.
Like I love and respect venues, dog. You know, of course, shout out to Rustin and DJ. Like, of course, I know there's other people, but like, for me, those are the two people who actually gave a shit about my band and what I'm doing, is Rustin and DJ. Like, that's why I love DJ. I love him because he's like, he actually gave a shit about what we were doing, you know? And not only does it like, of course, someone could say, hey, I really like you, and you can take that at face value, but I genuinely believe in what I'm playing, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm never going to be I'm not gonna say never.
Don't say that. No.
I'm never. I'm
Don't
not
say
like
it.
you know.
Don't say that. Don't say it.
Let me rephrase that.
Rephrase that
yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
I don't know if it'll ever be, but that's the thing. Like, I know what I'm playing is what I actually want to play. You know, and that's why I disrespect. I respect what everyone wants to play. Like right now, one of my favorite bands is Bad Lives. Like I love the music they put out. Like Jordan is actually a really good music. Like he's actually a really good songwriter.
Yeah,
you know,
excellent songwriter.
And that's the thing, man. Like I don't need to conform to one genre. Like, of course, people are gonna say what they want to say, but like. Fort Worth has a different music genre going on. Like, I love our alternative scene. I love our hardcore scene. Like, and that's the thing. I love our death metal scene. Like, we actually have a really underrated death metal scene. You know, like, I mean, like, a lot of them are not from Fort Worth, and that's the thing. Like, Houston, Austin. Like, I really wish, like, in a perfect world, like. Every city in Texas, like, meets up and actually plans stuff together. It happens every once in a while, but, like, I feel like that's what really should happen. Like, there's so many promotions in Fort Worth that could work together. And, like, and that not just Fort Worth, like, Houston, El Paso. I don't even know if I'm supposed to announce this, but we're supposed to be playing in El Paso. But that's the thing, like we got to get that confirmed. But that's
man, El Paso, this fucking
dude. El Paso's sick, man. Like,
have you been there before?
I've never played there, but I have family out there,
Ah.
and that's the thing, man. Like, the thing is, if I'm playing music out there, why should I feel like I'm like subjugated? Like, why do I feel like this isn't the music I shouldn't be playing? When it's just like, if I'm out here, I'm gonna be playing the music I want to play.
Yeah,
like.
Well, I mean, it goes back into like again talking about like there is an audience like for everything. You know what I mean? Like not everybody has to like you. Like music is the most subjective fucking thing ever, and that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Like I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it. Like, dude, I support like all of my friends like projects and like everything that they're doing. Like I support it. That does not mean that I like all of it. I go, because I don't. Like, there's some stuff that it's like, okay, like, but I'm never going to talk down on, like, what you're doing. One, because I know when I used to do that, when I used to say shit like, oh, this shit sucks, like, this shit's bad, like, this, blah, blah, blah. I used to say it in a very, like, egotistical way because I'm like, this is not, what I basically was saying, I was like, this is not good to me. And by declaring it as, like, this sucks overall, it's me telling people that, like, oh, my opinion is what like holds the line. You know what I mean? And growing up and seeing like music just flourish the way it is today, I'm like, oh, bro, like if something is not like what I like, I go, it doesn't mean it's not good. It just it means it's not for me. You know what I mean? Like there's plenty of like people that loves, not even just like something, that loves something that I'm just like, that's just, you know, that's just not my thing. You know, that's not what I am going to go crazy over. But I got like bands that I'm just like, I will fucking die for it. You know what I mean? But there's other people be like, oh, that shit's fucking boring. Like there's so many like that I'll talk to that one, like that once they got popular, I started hearing a lot more, but like all the Sleep Token stuff, like I'm like, I fucking am obsessed with Sleep Token for like a long time now. But like the more popular they get, there's people that like just have to like have their opinion and be like, oh, like they fucking suck. Like they're this. And I'm like, you saying they suck does not take away from my enjoyment of them. Like, so you can say they suck all day and they can suck to you. I go, but I'm going to fucking still like it. You know what I mean? Like, and
that's how cool. I felt with the Chunk. No, Captain Chunk.
Yeah.
Everyone shitted on that.
Like that. Like, it's like that. And like managing the term of guilty pleasure, I'm like, yeah, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like, if I like something, I'm just going to fucking like it. You know what I mean? It might mean that it's in the minority of like where I'm at the current state. But then you go, like, you know, people say that sucks, but then like, shows sell out in fucking seconds and minutes and shit like that. It's like, okay, so they obviously can't suck that much, you know, if like you're having a fight over for fucking tickets and stuff like that. But that's not a thing that I worry about. I don't have to defend it that way because I don't have to defend my taste like in anything. Like, so if I like something, I'm free to fucking like it. You know what I mean? Like, and you saying you don't is not going to affect me in the slightest. Like whether it comes to music, whether it comes to like fucking TV shows that I like or whatever the fuck you enjoy doing, like you do not have to defend that and just be fucking open to listening to whatever you want.
That's the thing. Like I've always felt open with you specifically because it's like it wasn't until like we actually got like maybe 6 months into hanging out where I was just like, dude, I actually know the music you like. You know, like we were talking about Zaliak, and I'm like, dude,
that was a
up,
fucking random one that we
that's
both
the
liked.
thing, OC. Like I have never known anyone else who's listened to them besides you.
Yeah,
that's why I was just like, you know, like. Even though, like, you may not know all the music I know, you know the music I like. And that's what, like, rushes me. Like, I've had to tell this with multiple bandmates because it's just, like, I don't start bands in spite of other bands, you know? Like, I only start music because it's, like, I actually like what I like playing, you know? Like, and, like, that's the thing, like, Dried Remains is something like I never thought I'd be playing, you know? But it wasn't until like I started playing it and I was just like, you know, why am I judging this genre when I've never played it before? I've never given it the time of day. And now like I actually sat down and listened to it and was just like, dude, I like this.
Yeah.
And that happened to me with like it's gonna sound embarrassing, but like that's the thing, dude. Like, I will never accept anyone talking shit on Sleeping with Sirens.
Dude, they fucking suck. Oh my God, you like Sleeping with Sirens?
You like
God,
them?
you
don't
piece
like
of
them?
shit. They are terrible. No, I'm just fucking kidding.
Dude, that's the thing. You gotta, like, when I was 13, 14, I heard with ears to listen. Wait, what was it the other way around? With ears to see and with eyes to listen.
I missed that one.
That's the thing, man. Like that, and like them and Alisana. Did you ever listen to Alisana?
No. I knew like their cover they put out like on
of what comes around. Yeah,
and I really liked it. I was like,
shout out Pop Goes Punk.
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
You actually did change a lot of lives. But that's the thing, man. Like I listened to them. Like that was the real. Like I hate to be so genre specific, but like genres help me navigate through time. Like after the whole emo phase, it was straight metalcore and like not metalcore, but like metal deathcore. And like you had Chelsea Grin, you had Suicide Silence, like you had, I mean, like I'm not trying to fucking ride y'all's dick so hard, but like Under Oblivion was in that genre of like
metalcore, yeah.
Metalcore, yeah. Like I really did enjoy y'all, you know? Like that's the thing. Like it might not be the genre now, but like growing up and listening to that, you couldn't help but feel like this is nice. Like I enjoy listening to that. Like I can't lie. Like when I hear that fucking Devil Wears Prada song, Hey John, what's your name again?
Yeah.
Dude, that takes me back to being a preteen. Like that reminds me of like, this is why I wanted to play music in the first place. You know, like I don't care about like how people feel. Like if people fuck with it, that's all that matters with me, you know? And it wasn't until like I saw people like older than me like embracing that, you know? Where it was just like I do enjoy the music I am playing, you know? And it was just like, why am I overthinking this, you know?
Yeah.
Like, why am I not just playing what I want to play? And that's where, like, Dried Remains came out of, like, I'm just playing riffs. I'm not playing, like, technical shit, but I'm playing riffs that actually make me happy, you know? Like, and that's why I appreciate DJ. Like, he put us on the shows. He literally could have been like, nah. I don't want you on this. And he literally, that's the thing. He literally could have been like, nah. But that's the thing. Like, I respect him so much because it's just like, he really does like not expect anything, but he's just like, be yourself. Like, why be anything other else than like, why pretend to be something you're not, you know? And that's why I love Fort Worth. I love the genre here. Like, don't get me wrong. Some people are a little overzealous. I'll say that. I don't fucking care. But that's the thing. Like, I haven't heard anything that I don't like. I'll be honest with you, OC. Like, I haven't heard anything from this area that I don't like. And that's the thing. You know me, bro. I'm a fucking hater.
You're
like,
really a big hater. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm a big hater, bro.
You're not as big of a hater that now that I've seen you. But when I first met Bert, I was like, damn, Bert a real big hater. Which, like, I just wasn't there, but that. I knew, like, that's why like I've never really like held that like against you, because I have been there, and I was like, oh, I've definitely like done that type of shit. Like, and that's what I said, like, that's something that I just like over time, I'm just like, it's too fucking much energy to be a big ass hater.
And that's what happened to me, dude. Like,
yeah.
I got over like, why am I hating on these bands? Like, that's the thing, dude. If you have the balls to put out music, what you want to do, I have no right to judge you. Yeah. I have no right to like, that's the thing. Like, you put out music, like, you're putting out music to people who either can shit on you or they, you know, like,
yeah.
That's the thing, man. Like, that's why I have so much respect for Noise Rot. I have so much respect for you and DJ. Like, y'all don't have to do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all don't have to put on these shows for people. Like, this really is a service for people in the local community. And, like, if they don't have that outlet, like, what else can they do? Maybe get the occasional show here and there, but it's just like, I'll be honest with you, I would much rather listen to the bands that are going on right now, the local bands, than any other, like, national shit going on.
It's just, like, it's just this, again, it goes back to just, like, this experience, this culture that we've been a part of, and just gotten to experience. And like I said, like I've just been bringing up stories about shows and stuff like that where I'm like, dude, I've had some like amazing times, and it's literally just like really, really seeing how now I get to be a part of creating those moments for somebody else, for like these crowds that are just like, oh, like, remember when we were at this show? Like, they might not remember who the fuck put on the show, but they'll remember what happened. And like, you know, hey, this night we did this. Like, do you remember fucking that? Like, oh, cool. Like, it's just literally about making memories and having people have these experiences that'll just cause them to fall more and more in love with the scene, with going out and seeing music, with participating in their local scene. And it's just because I opened my eyes to it, where like I've lived here my whole fucking life and didn't know the world existed until like I knew it was there, which was like super late into my life. It was into my 20s or whatever, you know what I mean? But I like seeing, like, especially when I like seeing like a younger crowd like come out and experience like shows. I'm like, that's fucking cool. Cause like like I said, my first like local shows were those where I was like in my 20s, the first time I went to Tomcast or discovered like that this shit was going on. It wasn't like when I was a kid or anything like that, or like growing up. Like, I never went to concerts at all. Like, my idea of like going to a show or a concert was like a big ass fucking like American Airlines concert or something like this, where I would see like on TV, like, oh, this person's coming through town and they're playing whatever this. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that's how concerts work. You know what I mean? Like, never would I have thought that like 10 minutes down the fucking road, I can sit in a small ass fucking room and like listen to music that's not just what's being pushed to me like on TV, on the radio, whatever. That's what music was to me, like growing up, was like what was on like TV, on the radio, or like when the internet like started getting like bigger and like people were uploading more of like their music. Like, oh, okay, that's all it is. Like, to me, like a band that was touring, that was like what a band was. Like, I never imagined like a band that was playing, you know, 2 doors down in a garage was playing shows somewhere around town. You know what I mean? And like, people are doing that shit like now and playing like amazing music at like local venues here and there. And I'm like, dude, there's just so much fucking talent that used to go unrecognized and now has like such a big opportunity to just have its moment in like on the stage or on, you know, a record and stuff like that. And just like the more I see like, oh, like this band just recorded with fucking like COTC recordings or fucking Black Oil recordings, I'm like, those are all people that like we're in this community and now are helping other bands create like all that. I see that other promotions like putting on shows, other people creating podcasts to like promote more like bands and artists and local businesses and shit like that. Like that's all a community that, you know, people don't know is there, you know? And I just think it's just fucking cool to be a part of it. Like that's all my goal is just to become weaved into the fabric of like this scene that made some of like the best memories and continues to do that for me. And then we get to keep spreading that out. And you know what I mean? Like, you know, even if we talk about like here, like, I mean, that's how we met, like over that. Like the first time you were on like the 4th podcast I ever did, which is the Bad Astronauts podcast you were on. And we were doing like, dude, we were doing that in DJ's room at the apartment, like all fucking scrunched up together. And like, that's literally, I think the first time we actually like met, and we talked, but I'm like, cool. Then when, we had our podcast, was kind of when we first started talking, then we like do the Austin trip shit like that. You know, it's brought me to like people that have like been good in my life. You know what I mean? So like, I know what can stem from like such a small moment, what feels like a small moment. And then you realize like, oh shit, like look at like these friends that I have now. You know, I talk about, you know, Jonathan from Unity was in here who like helped me do the 100th episode. He set all that up like with all the drummers in here. Like I didn't do shit. Like he literally like came to me one day. He's like, what are your plans for episode 100? I was like, I don't know. He's like, I got you. And the next day he emailed me like everybody's like information. He's like, this is everybody who's coming. And I'm like, fucking cool. I met that dude how many fucking years ago when he was playing with Interrupting the Sequence? Like a fucking like way the fuck back in the day band. And we just kept being friends after that. And now like, you know, we're like closer friends and doing like cooler shit. And that's just one of the many experiences that I've like in relationships that I've created over time over just going to a show. Like, and it stemmed from that. And then, yeah, it's just brought so many good fucking things to my life. And I feel myself rambling. So I feel like we're getting close to wrapping this.
That's what I'm saying, man. I mean, that's the thing, man. Like, that's the thing. Like, that's the thing, OC. I don't get to see you as often as I would like to, you know? That's why I'm just like, man, like, anytime I see you, I'm just like, man, why do I have to feel like I have to put on... I feel like I really don't have to put on like a mask in front of you, you know? That's why I'm just like, you know, like, I don't feel the need to hide myself in front of you because it's just like, I know who you are, and it's just like, I never feel judgment between like what I'm doing and like how you feel what I'm doing, you know? That's why I love this scene so much, because it's just like, people only really like, sorry, I've been drinking, but it's just like, but that's the thing. Like when I met Nate from Pulse, like he had nothing to say but kindness towards us. And I was just like, dude, we only met you for like 4 minutes and you're only praising us, you know?
It's that's fucking cool, dude.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like I respect everyone in this fucking genre, because it's just like, you really got to have balls to play music. Like if you play music you want to do, whether people like it or not, like you gotta have balls to do it. Like, and that's why like I respect so much of the people who play in our scene. Like, of course, I would love to know everyone who plays in like the DFW area, but like realistically, I can't. You know? Sorry, but that's the thing. Like, I can like the bands who are in my area.
Yeah,
and that's why I put them on for this show. Like on the 27th, like. I put on I reached out to Oxy and Pulse because, sorry,
April 27th.
Oxy,
Pulse.
But this is the thing. Like I've gotten to meet each of those bands personally, and was just like, you know what, dude? Like, not the fact that like I don't care about like outreach. I don't like. Of course, I care about that. Like I want people who like. You think of like I'm not saying you, but like people who think of the shows, they just think of someone just coming out there and filming them. When it's just like, no, dude, there's more to that. Like there's like I'll bring up polarize my films for example. Like, that's the thing, dude. Like, you can pay for a service, but when you pay him for his service, like, he will actually, like, you pay for the service he does, you know? And that's the thing. Like, I respect people who show up, like, who do what they want to do. Like, I don't want people to be fake. I don't want people to put on film a show because it's like, oh, I think that's what they'll like. Like, homeboy from Houston, I can't lie, I'm pretty fucked up. So I can't lie. I can't remember what his name is. But his name's like Johnny Boy. But that's the thing. He reached out to me from Houston and he was just like, dude, I recorded some set. Like, I'm going to send it to you. But that's the thing. Like, I appreciate that so much more. Like, if someone said, hey, I'm going to come and film this show. If you want me to send it to you, like, let me know and we'll figure it out. Like, I respect that. Yeah. I respect people who put business first rather than put it last. Like, someone who's like, oh, I took pictures. Do you want like if you want this, you got to pay this much. Like, no, like if you tell me straight up, like, hey, if you pay me this much and I'll get you pictures for that. That's why I love Bailey, dude. Like, dude,
Bailey is so fucking talented. Like,
Bailey, you are so good, dude.
I tell her to her face all the time, but that's somebody who hit us up one time and was like, hey, like, I'll shoot the show. I guess she was new to the scene and she's like, I'll do it for free. We're like, okay, like, we just thought someone wanted to come see the show, and then we're like, cool. Literally my first experience with her, like, she shot the show and like we were seeing Instagram like right during the show and like we saw pictures put up, edited already of like the bands. And we're like, wait, this is our show, like, right now. And she's like, yeah, like, I'll do a few quick edit. And like just the growth that she's like worked towards, like, in the last like whatever like amount of time. I think it's been maybe about a year now that since then. It's crazy. I'm like, oh, that's work ethic. That's someone being genuine to like what they want to do. Like, I've talked to her about like the scene, like, and what she like wants to do. Like, she's done a lot of like stuff for like the local scene. Cause she's like, yeah, like, she'll say like, oh, like some of the national acts, sure, like they get a shit ton of photos. Like their photo pit is fucking like filled with people taking pictures of them. So they're going to have plenty. But like, you do that for like some of like these local bands, like that's all like they got, to go on. And you realize that, yeah, because that's something like bands have to put into their budget is like, can we afford to like have pictures taken of live like every set? Like, no, like it's fucking like, it's depending on what level you're at, like, yeah, you can't afford that all the time to hire somebody out. So you kind of bank on people having like an interest on that. And so when somebody comes up to me, like, hey, like, I can do this for cheap, or like, this time I did them for free, or this and that stuff. Like bands should, and I think most of them do, like, appreciate that like a ton. Like when that ever happened to us, we were like just like above like the fucking moon. Like we were just like over the moon about it. We're like, that's fucking great. Our first ever like actual promo shots were done for free by a guy we saw walking down the street by Sons of Herman Hall, and he was taking pictures. And he was like, oh, are you guys a band? And he's like, yeah. He's like, oh, blah, blah. That's why, like, I'll look it up. I'll put it somewhere here. But I'm wearing like a dress shirt, a button up over like a Wells Fargo t-shirt that I had on because I didn't give a fuck what I was wearing that day. So it's not like we planned to do that. And he's like, yeah, like, here, I'll take them. And he took down our information and he sent us like fucking pictures later on. I'm like, that's fucking cool. But like, you do get to meet a lot of like genuine people who are like doing really cool stuff to support like the scene. I don't know where we were going. I think we've gotten there, man. So I'm gonna wrap it up because I hit a point and I'm like, I don't know how I got here.
I can't lie, buddy. We're just been having fun.
Yeah. We'll keep hanging out, but yeah. Anything you want to leave? I know April 27th.
April 27th, we got
Oxy.
We got Oxy, Pulse, Dried Remains, and I can't announce it now, but we do have a surprise set.
Secret set.
You just got to show up. But that's the thing.
I'm going to say it right now. It's.
If you can read his lips, you'll know who it is.
All I'm doing is doing this.
But that's the thing, man. I got to shout out DTB and I got to shout out Treehouse Cabaret for playing with us on that show, man. Like, the thing is, you can have 20 people show up to your show and you'll feel good. But when more people show up for that, you feel like, wow, like, why haven't I been doing this before? And that's the thing. I got to shout Noise Right out because, like, they gave a chance on us, and I have to shout them out because they are really, like, DJ, OC, Bernie, like...
Who you shouting out?
I'm shouting out DJ, OC, and Bernie. The burn, bro. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, y'all have been nothing but supportive towards us, and that's what I'm saying, man. Like, till the day I die, I'm gonna fucking represent y'all. Like, y'all have done nothing but support us.
Hell yeah.
And April 27th.
April 27th.
Message dried remains or Bertshot for the address. It's free. Everyone can show up. No bullshit. Don't fucking fight anyone, please. And I'll be honest with you, man. No one. That's the thing, man. Like, no one fucking fought this last show. Treehouse actually came out and played a fucking sick ass set.
Hell.
I respect Julian, I respect Richard, and I respect Eddie because they came out, they promoted the entire time. Like, that's the thing, man. I love my scene. There's no reason for me to be like, I hate you. Yeah. There's no band that makes me want to hate them, you know? And like, of course, I give a lot of respect to Noise Rot, but you know, like, that's the thing. Like, y'all been doing this a long time before even Noise Rot even started, you know? That's why I'm just like, you know, I'm very happy what the scene is in now. Even if I don't play music anymore, like, I'm happy where the scene's going. And I can't thank y'all enough for doing this shit, you know?
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I'm sure you're going to keep playing music because that's something you fucking love. Yeah. And toast right before we wrap this up.
Here. Bing! Wrap this up.
Yeah, so this was fucking cool. You have now broken the record. This is officially the longest podcast that we've ever done.
Sorry, guys.
So this has been episode 105 with Bert from Bertshot. Bertshot, Dried Remains, and that's it.
That's it right now.
Okay. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you next time. Woo!
Sounds and breakdowns.